Good morning, family. How's everybody doing? How was everybody's weekend? Hopefully, you guys all had a great weekend. I know that you guys have all been. Some of you probably have been stuck with all the AMC rumors and oh my God, what's gonna happen? Is the judge gonna say this or that? Yeah, I know. A bunch of creators are actually guilty of that crime, of keeping everybody engaged for viewerships. How's everybody doing? How was your guys' weekend? D. Robinson, good morning. Mrs. Lee, how good morning to you as well. Important week ahead. Important week ahead. We got opEX week up front, and that's a pretty interesting week because that's when it's the third week of the month. Options are expiring, so we're gonna see what is gonna happen um, with the market, especially that we have Tesla reporting earnings this Wednesday. It's extremely important to actually stay through this stream today. Um, I doubt that we will go from beginning of market till the end. I have a few things coming up today, but it's very important. It's crucially important to see what happens with Tesla specifically this today, because today would be foretelling a lot, and I will show you guys throughout the stream what we'll be looking for. Also, we'll be looking for what's happening with AMC. What are some of the rumors that are circulating around? We'll see the levels that we're at, where what's happening. We might talk a little bit about crypto as well. Of course, we're gonna cover some GameStop and some SPCE. What else do we have on the agenda? Seeing exactly the SPY as well, which is in the background, as you guys can see in the um, in this chart right there. Let me actually go ahead and make this just a tiny bit bigger. I like it, like a little bigger view there. Actually, keep it right there is cool. As we can see, the SPY right now, as we speaking, has just made the high of the day, but this is an important level, and I will show you guys why here. If we look on the 5 day, there's a psychological level right there that we need to break in order to confirm a higher high. And basically, we break above 450.34 and hold that level. That will confirm that for the foreseeable future, at least for the near term future, we are still making higher highs and no longer low lows. However, today, uh, closing right back into this channel or even perhaps below 448.49 would indicate a lower low. And at that point, we will be looking for 447 because every time it touched that level in the past week or so, it actually bounced up, and that's when it went up to the basically the almost the 52-week high. But this current bull run high has been at that point. So we would be watching this level either being broken down. If it breaks this down, we will actually be looking for these gaps to be filled first at the 446 and then eventually the 442.96, almost 443 level. Those are crucially important to see. This could do something similar to last month. If you remember, I'll take you guys back to here. You see this setup right there? We took off, which represents this part right here, where we at. This part right there took off, and we consolidated on top, not for too long. And then we got down, and eventually that's what brought us up back to this last week, where we had to fill this gap right here. We really never fully filled it. We came up short right here, just a tiny bit short. Then we bounced off, which actually gave us on many time frames. If you look, I know we're coming out swinging. Right there, you see we had that little cup and there's the little handle. It's a little broken handle because of that gap right there. But that's why this week is important to see what happens. You see here, we tried to break the 450.34 level and it didn't. You see that how it respected it? It came right back down. Resistance is strong. Maybe it's cooling off, just having a little sell off. We'll see again throughout today, as I've mentioned to you, what will exactly happen throughout today and tomorrow, as it's going to tell a whole lot walking into Wednesday, which will definitely also reveal a lot of things that are happening with Tesla. So again, we will look at all that stuff throughout the stream and keep monitoring it. And I'm of course going to keep breaking it down to you guys as it comes. So we'll see how it fully will play out and go. How is everybody doing? Jeffrey, what's up, brother? How are you doing? Let's see. We got, who else do we got it here? Belligerent ideas. Let's go. Good vibes, peeps. Hell yeah, my friend. Hell yeah. Let's see. We got, let's play some blues in the background. Or actually, no. Casey Hogg, another week of AMC going. You never know, my friend. You never know. Keep your I want to say keep your enemies close and your friends close and enemies even closer. Because we don't know how we're gonna decipher that. No, it's we are so much better off where we at than where we at now than we were a month ago or 2 months ago. One thing we do know is that the FUD is actually rising yet again for something basically to happen. And we've seen, I've even broken down to you guys the crazy action on AMC's options chain that's due the end of this week. Like something like in the millions of dollars, something either has to happen or all these contracts were already taken care of this past Friday, and perhaps some are taken off this week little by little because again, far so deep in the money puts on AMC will act as shorts without having to add on to the short interests. See, a lot of content creators are not actually paying attention to that, or they just don't understand this concept that shorting AMC doesn't necessarily only has to be on exactly opening up a short position by going to add, borrow shares, and then that adds on to the short interest, makes it higher, cost to borrow goes higher, and all that stuff. Actually, there is another way for them by going to, especially when there's very, very scarce amounts of shares circulating around, because everybody is holding right now. Whoever is lending shares is I don't know. Honestly, if I was a broker or if I was someone with a bunch of AMC shares and I'm an institute and I don't care about no MOAS or any of this stuff, especially these days, I would not be lending out my shares because there is a judge order coming up soon. So I want to know if what's going to happen, if there's going to be a 10-to-1 reverse stock split. I want, again, I want all my shares within my my grasp until I see what happens within the foreseeable future, what happens with them. So that's why, because there's less liquidity of shares to short with, unless some synthetic or some made up crap, I don't know from where they got it from Hong Kong or some shit. And again, no offense to all my Hong Kong people. This is just a figurative speech right here. But so you get the point. It's made up shares. Otherwise, no one is lending. So therefore, what are they doing? Their next best thing, which is going to the options chain and going deep in the money puts. Deep in the money. Let's see. Pabloco, what's good, brother? Casey Hogg, yes, they are. I mean, Weeble, feeds, and wherever else, social media, funny ass ads and articles all over the place coming out and all over with different agendas here and there, saying stuff that don't even exist. Some articles that I've even read happened back in 2020. So like 3 years old, just they labeled it with a different date and time. Um, Number one son, how are you, sir? Hopefully you had a great weekend, sir. Once again, it's always a pleasure to have you, sir, and to interact with you. Keep up the good work, and don't let people get you out of your gear. A lot of people sometimes they just want a reaction out of somebody. Sometimes the best response is no response, and that could literally let people like those negative entities or people who mean to do you harm. It would actually make them boil on the inside. That's the best way. Ultimately, if somebody's trying to get to you, the best way to get to them is actually to get to them. Let them get to them. So you're an amazing gentleman, and you have a lot to teach everybody in the community. You got a lot of experience. I got a lot to learn from you. Of course, just as something I would say back, because I'm aware, I see what's happening, my friend. So keep your head up, and don't let people bring you off your, the direction that you're supposed to be on. Bob Loco, how do you think Google is looking? Google got I think they got an earning next week or the week after, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's next week. Google and Alphabet is all tied up to the rest of the market, Bob Loco. So my intentions are going to be to look at exactly what happens today and tomorrow with Tesla. And that would tell me a whole lot of what would be happening on Wednesday. Because here's the thing. Yes, the report on Wednesday after market hours. But I think that all these bullish numbers that they would most likely report have already been priced in, especially with the deliveries report we had last a week and a half ago. And then with this action that we're having now, some institutes and people already know. In my humble opinion, with the market, that's what I have been accustomed to. So I see them already pricing all that in, so that when retail jumps in on the earnings day, it could sound like great earnings, and there's no doubt it should be great earnings. I mean, if your deliveries are up 85% from the year before, your earnings should be much higher. However, I see some small little digs happening after earnings, and where they would say stuff along the lines of Tesla's costs on vehicles went up, or the very hard to find lithium for the batteries is crazy. Their new partnership with this factory from North America and Canada that ultimately found all these reserves in Mexico. I don't know if many of you know about this, but there is these newly founded lithium reserves in Mexico that are until now are the highest reserves you could literally find. Previously it was all in Australia, and now it's mostly like the biggest reserves. And now they found something that up to a much higher number than what is actually in Australia. So that's big, and Tesla is making big runs onto that because they already have access to the Australian lithium. And lithium is just about the most component that Tesla needs in their line of work. So again, today and tomorrow, crazy action for Tesla going up, perhaps breaking the 52-week high at $314. That would indicate to me that Wednesday night, after the reports are going to be like the earnings are going to be announced, I feel like there's some big surprise to where a lot of retail will jump in on the call side, and you can think it's going to have a continuation. While it could, I think that obviously that could be a rude awakening for many people. So Google, back to Google now, and Alphabet, I think it's along the same line of Tesla, and this is in the same market. If the SPY, Apple, Nvidia, all these tech stocks are going down, and Google is part of the Magnificent Seven. If any of these other ones are going down before it, I think that it would be safe to assume that within that same week, the week after, when Google reports its earnings, that you would be expecting Google to also be reflecting onto that. No matter what the earnings is, just like the notion that people think that the earnings is what really pushes the stock. I think that that's for traders who go in, and this is just my humble opinion, the traders who go in and expect the market to be take it for its word, you know, people who still haven't met King Griffin, people still haven't met the market maker, people who don't know the corruption of and the manipulation of the market, as high liquidity institutes can actually prop up and deplete the markets as they see fit. If anybody wants to further see proofs of stuff of the things that I speak of, look up documentaries on like the flash crash back in 2010. Just look, that flash crash is actually the first thing that opened up the government's eyes opened up, not necessarily perhaps opened up, perhaps it could have been they already knew but now they can't escape it because it's in the spotlight. But the flash crash in 2010 showed the whole world the actual manipulation of the stock market, not the banks who screwed up the whole economy in 2008. No, the manipulation of actual institutes and even some banks and big market makers who were propping up the markets as they see fit, obviously to their advantage, spoofing the market and all that stuff was put out and exposed in 2010. Before that, it was all conspiracy talk. So look stuff up like that, you'll find a great read, and you'll actually listen to some cool things, in my humble opinion, I think. So hopefully that gives up the answer for that, Pub Local, but we'll continue to monitor that because again, that's a good play coming up. It's earnings season. Volatility is going to be crazy. I have some things going on for the VIX, so I want to see what happens with the VIX. And if that continues to go up, and if we see the DXY prop up and go up, that could indicate that industrials will be on the way down, and so will be the S&P 500 as it has some weight. The DXY will have some weight or ramifications on the S&P 500 as abroad. Let's see. Casey says, I think the judge decision soon. FUD ramping up hard. Hell yeah, man. That's exactly what it is. Like, I definitely see the judge decision soon. Now, I do see some other things where the judge would say something along the line like this needs to be approved for another month or so, like maybe prolonging and stuff like that. I'm not against any prolonged ideas or any of that stuff because at the end of the day, I'm not in no hurry for perhaps losing any of my shares. Who knows? Somebody could tap out before that. That's what I'm banking on. But we will see. I do think that the judge will definitely make her decision. We know for sure that she's going to make her decision regardless, whether it's this week or next month. The decision is going to be made. There's no such thing as no decision at all. So I can't wait to see. I personally think that the settlement is just not it's not fair for the common shareholders' sake. So something has to, something else has to give. That's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to theirs. Mr. McCohen, how are you, my friend? Hopefully no one hacked your Facebook, my friend, or one of your friends' Facebook, and you know what I'm talking about. Christopher Santos, good morning, sir. Yeah. Orlando Finney, good afternoon, AB, and my fellow AMC investors, man. Good morning to you too, my friend. Hopefully you had a great weekend, and now you're back for another hustle and bustle week with AMC and our favorite stocks, and perhaps day trading throughout the market. Let's look right here real quick as we see the SPY is still at that 450 range. Will it break that resistance right there and make that trend? We'll see. There's about 5 more minutes to see if something like that could occur. I'm on the 30-minute time frame. It's extremely telling, as the 1 minute here is still not able to break that 50.09. So let's see if it stair steps slowly and creeps up toward that resistance. We will see. It looks like somewhere here is going to lag. That's what it was looking like to me, and I think it'll have a little pullback. How far? I don't see any crazy volume yet to indicate that something crazy is coming up. RSI has still been laggy. The MACD is not too it's still like kind of consolidating. So we need to see some sort of sharp movements. These right here were right at the opening, but the good thing about these big bars is that one, I would like to see a third one to confirm a bullish movement throughout the day or some really big movement to the upside. But in the same time, what I like about them is that they were not. There was no gaps made in between to where it would be kind of like broken action that could probably perhaps come back to retest and try to close off. Because again, we already have a lot that I know, no doubt, that we have to pull back to close. We have to close this gap here. We have to close this gap over here. And of course, we have many more before that, but I don't think those will be touched until the market trend overall changes. Till we change from a bull to a bear market and the change of the direction of the market, that's when we will, I personally believe, see um, those previous gaps in the past be filled. And I think that's why I always refer to it as um, miracle number the miracle. When I always say the miracle, because I have a lot of plays being on the sideline waiting to jump onto that, just timing the perfect moment for that moment in time to happen, because it's just no doubt in my system that that is going to happen. Like, the markets are completely propped up, like all over the place. um, Healthy pullback has to happen, or a major downside, perhaps, that will coincide with the markets being pulled down, would have to happen. Of course, there's much less fear now that the markets would have to go through a recession broadly, given the core CPI data that was announced um, this past week. And again, there's theories and there is numbers. Now, I would like to go with the theories because I know that we will have a hard time that uh, this market is so overly propped up later on throughout the second part of this year, perhaps in the next couple months or so, and actually probably starting next month, on a slow range leading all the way to the end of the year. However, these numbers that are reported, I could tell you that with no doubt, not even a single inch in me doubts the fact that they will hike rates 25 basis points this upcoming later on this in July. What is it, 26th or 28th? I think the announcement is on the 28th, which will obviously further make things a little tougher. Now, here's the thing. Two things that I need you guys to keep your eyes on. Numbers wise, the markets looks like the Feds, like the numbers are being reported, they relate or they equal to the Feds will be successful in having a soft landing. Now, that's great and all, but one thing they can't control is what would happen. The only thing that could make that go away completely, and we will have a major steel market crash, is if any of the major banks were to obviously default or go belly up. Now, Credit Suisse, there's reports about it, and this is crucially important, of it being defaulting, and that there's some sort of laws that are going into it that basically makes any of the reports or the reason for the default or why Credit Suisse went belly up cannot come out until 50 years later from now. I don't know the truth of that report or of those rumors, but if that's true, then man, oh man, God knows what is below. If that is true, then you can almost bet that yes, the Feds will have their soft landing, but at what cost? Who knows what's happening behind the closed doors? Because if they were able to fully absorb Credit Suisse and at the taxpayer's expense, and take care of all that, like just write all that off at our expense, in the same time, have like other banks perhaps go through the same thing, but we won't even know about it. They'll just handle it behind closed doors, and then continue like nothing even happened, and the taxpayer is paying the taxes as the cost of life is higher and higher. They can convince themselves and everybody else who believes so that the inflation is at 2% if they get to that point. But that would be extreme. Like I would be very like I already don't trust the system. However, that would take it to a different level of I can't trust the system at that point. I don't think I'll ever be able to walk around and be like, yeah, at least I trust this one person. Like I don't trust, I wouldn't trust anybody at that point. So those are the two scenarios I want you to think of. Numbers wise or data wise, the system, the overall economy looks like it will have its soft landing. Now, one of these banks or any of these banks break because of these rate hikes before 2024, before they start even thinking about unwinding the rate hikes, the Feds, that is, then that's when you'll have a full-on market, obviously crash, as these SIP, systematically important banks, SIB, that's what we looked at the last live, those could bring down the entire economy with them. So we could have another 2008 multiplied, God knows by how much, depending on how many banks are involved. That one was Lehman Brothers. This one could be, who knows? It could be some hedge funds as well along the line. It's not just a bank. It could be just more than Bank of America. Everybody knows how Bank of America is over stressed. But again, those are the two scenarios here. But if the Feds are saying screw both scenarios, we're gonna have only one, which is the first one. We're gonna have our soft landing, and even if we don't, we're gonna still have our soft landing. You just won't know about it, and we're gonna take care of all these people in the background. So that would be the scary part. So keep your eyes on that, and we will continue to monitor that, because I personally, that's the most important thing to me, to see exactly, to gauge the overall market going into the future. Like once we know if that's what they're going to go through, rate hikes coming up, there's another 25 basis points coming up, maybe another one after that. I personally think it will be 25 basis points at the end of this month, on the 28th or the 26th. And at that point, we will have some sort of timer to see what banks are going to get, like, crucified here or whatnot. If any banks, any of these SIB bank on that list go belly up, obviously all that soft landing bullshit will go straight out of the window. So it's important. I'll continue to remind you guys, and I expect you guys to also remind me throughout these next couple of months, I would say, because it's that close. And I think, believe it or not, family, it's crazy for some traders. They don't see the irony, or they don't see the exact magnitude, but I think that AMC is in the core of all that talk. I think AMC is that big of a systematic risk of a play, including GME and other meme stocks. That's why they're constantly referring to the meme stocks as the meme stocks are back again. Oh, that's not good for the market. And yes, while that is true, it's not our fault that it's not good for the market. We didn't smack anybody on their wrist and say, hey, go and short this to oblivion. Put all your fund, other people's money that you're working with, on an illegal shorting position on these few meme stock companies, or particularly AMC or GME. We didn't smack anybody on the wrist and tell them to do that. And no one smacked us on the wrist and said, go and invest in these companies. None of us said, go put into this money. At the end of the day, we all take care of our own. Every penny and every dollar that we put into these investments is basically money that we could possibly spend on ourselves or splurge it or anything else. But we decided to put it there. So therefore, that's a decision that we all make. So the fact that they label us as bad for the market, bad news for the market, that the meme stocks are back, we've never went anywhere. That sounded like a ludicrous part of the track. All right, let's see what is happening here. So they were not able to make a new high. So let's see, it's still not fully finished, right? It's still not finished business. Still 50.09, still the high right here. It kind of it got to the about 50.04, 50.01, 3. So it looks like more. It looks more set up for the bears to do what they gotta do. As you can see here, like one right there interrupted the play, another one right there, bringing it back down to the 50-day moving average on the 1 minute. It's interesting to see now that when the technicals start cooling off, like the RSI or even now the MACD and the other technicals are looking to flip back to the upside. But for how much will this Monday be a consolidating day similar to a Friday, or will some crazy action eventually happen? I think that something might happen today at some point throughout midday, maybe. We'll see what will happen. We are here, right? We're nowhere. We're not going nowhere. I think Netflix is doing their earnings this week too. See, Tesla this morning had this gap up out of the morning, and of course I didn't like that because that automatically shows some weakness. So it's just a play that right now, if somebody was already in, I would literally, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but this is what AB here would do. AB will not open any position in Tesla if I'm trying to open any position in general, whether stock or buy or any options, whether to calls or puts. I wouldn't do anything until I see exactly what happens. One, with this gap here get filled or not. In the same time, I need to see when it does the retest. Will it retest this level on the earnings, the 281.48? Will it retest and bounce, or will it basically go right under? Because there is a few other let's see right here. I think we got a couple. Let me turn these moving averages off. Got a couple of other, like you see, there's one more gap right here to fill at 263. There is another to fill at 234. So the sky is not, I mean, we're technically in the blue skies right now with Tesla. I do think that eventually we would probably break that 52-week high of $314, but it's very risky to see in which direction. Now that we are in this zone, let's go back to a year ago and see right here. If you guys can see that, it's like so, I think it's literally almost crystal clear. Here, let me maximize this. You see, this is the resistance from the previous year, just about around. So about 309 is going to be extremely dangerous. Will we meet that and break down? This is one of the biggest supply zones to worry about right there. Is 309. Breaking that will eventually perhaps take us over to that 314 52-week high range right there. After that 309, won't be that hard of a job to, for Tesla at that point to break up to that point. It's only, at the end of the day, at that point, it's only like less than 1% away, or about 1% away from being at the 52-week high. Now going to all-time highs and all that, that's a different topic, different time, different stroke, different zone. It will be extremely important to see at 314 what will happen if we get to that point. Again, we're not that far off being at 292 today. A few percents away and you're already there. So it's extremely, again, dangerous. As you can see here, we had another gap about a year in September of 2022, almost symmetrically similar to this gap that we had there. So it looks like over here is going to be very tough. That 300, breaking that 300, and let's see, this part right there, that 28, like that 292, the one that we reached today and we pulled back from is going to be very important, and eventually going up to that 309. After that 208, I think it's going to be a smooth ride to 309. A lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, it could be earnings. It could be tomorrow as well, action. But if we continuously keep going up today and tomorrow, I would hold my breath for earnings, because anything could happen and you don't want to be trapped on a move unless you're going YOLO style. That's a different story. There's a couple ways to go about that. There's a way to actually leverage yourself to either side, get in with two different positions, and then see which area or direction it chooses to go to, and then limit your exposure to the opposite end and continue to ride up the opposite angle. Now, again, do I prefer that as much? Again, if only if I'm pressed, I will do something like that. If I'm not pressed, and again, I don't like that kind of style of investing. Like, see that? Like seeing right now, look, we're having a very, very strong pullback from that 292. Are we filling that gap on the day? It sure do look like it. It's breaking that right there. So it's almost safe to say that by today at some point or tomorrow, we will have to close this gap at 281. And then eventually we'll have to see if it breaks underneath it, or will it go up. If it closes this gap right here, I would watch for this zone in this area. As you can see, one time we dipped before this zone at 281.48, but every time, like as of most recently, when we touched it, it respected it. It barely dipped under 281 to the most 279, and then it bounced right off to make this high movement that we're in. So this is a very crucial supply and demand zone right there. It's important. A lot of people don't give supply and demand a lot of stuff. I see people do indicators, RSI this, MACD that. While it's good to have better, like more technicals, as much as you can have, it's good. Nothing is always enough, not one thing. But the supply zones and supply and demand is what really theoretically is more assuring, and it is actually foretelling a whole lot more than a lagging indicators that are reacting to what the action is going to be. So right now, it looks like Tesla will have a little bit of a rebound from this point, but will it continuously keep making that lower to try to cover this gap? We're watching that throughout the day today. So let's see. That's what, as far as for Tesla, that's what we have for Tesla today, right now. Oh, I see a couple of good questions right there. I don't know. Part of me is like, this will squeeze, but then I remember the government lost 2 trillion the week before 9/11, and suddenly everyone missed that news. Yeah, Casey. Listen, one thing about short squeezes / MOASs is that it always tends to happen when you least expect it. Now, we all are expecting something to happen and all that, but for the majority, it's always that, oh, the government is always going to win, or the other opposite side, whoever is against us, is going to win and is going to take advantage of us and all that. And that's when FUD flourishes, and that's when you least also expect it, that the unexpected could happen. You just got to be ready and not get phased by the results. So you always got to be ready for whatever comes. I that's why I always emphasize a whole lot about making decisions and own up to their results, or whatever happens of these decisions. Make these decisions, whatever happens, whether for the worst or for the best. Own your decisions, and by doing so, you already come to kind of like, you come to peace with these decisions, because that's it. You already know that that's it. You made it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you made your decision. Hey, it is what it is, right? If everything is 100% sure, then no one would lose a single dime in the market, right? So just be polished, stay ready. That's it, basically. Um, Mr. McCohen, AB, what's your take on XRP? Okay, good question. Great question. Let me just switch this chart and see AMC first. We're doing great. Again, they don't want us breaking that 448 level. But we'll see what happens. We're up 1% on the day. GME is also up almost 1%. Workhorse has been up above $1. That's pretty big for Workhorse. Let's see what happens also throughout the rest of the market. Mara, a little bit retracement. Riot is still up. SPY is trying to push again. It's consolidating again in this range for a little while now. For almost, what, since 10 o'clock, it's been in this range. So almost an hour. So it will be interesting to see exactly which direction it's going to actually really make its peace with, to the downside or to the upside. This is a huge part of what is happening, the dollar index. Microsoft is normal. Apple is up. That's exactly why this is up. Apple gapped up. Not good, really, in Apple's perspective. And that's all, I think, on the announcement of that they will have launch of the MacBook and the Pro or whatever in October. They're launching a new one. NVIDIA have worked off most of the gains that it had in the morning. It did, however, cover that gap that it had this very morning. So that's a good sight to see, actually, for NVIDIA. However, NVIDIA, we will cover that maybe throughout the day. Later on, we will look at many other levels that it will have to retest, and I have no doubt that it will come down to retest. So stay tuned for those, for that breakout talk. So let's go back, put this on the SPY in the background as to see what is happening with it, if it breaks those levels or not. Okay, XRP. So, Mr. McCohen, XRP is, in my opinion, I spoke on this again, I believe it was exactly about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And I was already giving it my support since back then. It's amazing that it's now taking so much attention, and rightfully so. So is XLM. One thing I want you to keep your eyes on, for all of you, is that yes, while all these numbers can be thrown around, oh, it could be pegged at 1,800, it could be pegged at $30 and all that stuff. I do see upside potential. I do see it. I mean, again, platforms and blockchains are just now able, after this last court hearing, to go ahead and actually add it and start selling it to their customers. People have access to XRP now from a whole lot of other outlets. Now, one of the main issues with XRP, while all that is the good, and I think that at these prices, it's a no, it's almost, this is just my opinion again, I'm not an advisor, right? It's a no-brainer that it's an entry for that play. However, I want people to come to realization with their expectations. I want you to know the market cap of something. Just like in stocks, the bigger the float, the higher, the harder it is to push a stock, to buy up all that float. So if AMC, for example, had a float of 1 million, it will be much easier to gobble it all up and push up the price than when it has 550 or, God knows however many. So God knows however many. So same thing with cryptos. XRP has a limit, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was a while ago since when I did this. And I do hold a good position in XRP. Not too gigantic, not too crazy, but I do hold, again, I've always said that I am a Bitcoiner. Bitcoin is basically digital gold. And the reason why I say that, it's like so many reasons why. It's the first crypto, it holds the most popularity and bragging rights and all that stuff. But more importantly, it also has a very, in fact, the smallest limited amount of float circulating around. So therefore, that plays a huge role into why you see Bitcoin at these evaluations. A lot of people have misconceptions about just, oh, like cryptos can just squeeze to whatever, any crazy number and all that stuff. And that's false narratives, because um, Bitcoin having only 21 million Bitcoins in existence out there, you're talking about by the end of this year, sometime by next year, there will be no more Bitcoins to be mined. And yet the supply is drying up, the demand is growing, which means it's easy. It doesn't even take a Dr. Oz, not that he's a genius, to realize that Bitcoin will only go up, and it's the perfect tool for a deflationary process, or to basically grow your wealth, and in fact protect your wealth. Versus if you have that money, and I explained before, I think you were there also, Mr. McCohen, how Bitcoin, how the dollar, even if you have $1 million and they're just put into these banks and they accrue, let's say they give you back 4 or 5% interest on it. With the inflation and the way the rate hikes are going on, you're basically every year, even if you're not using your million, it's losing, it's drying up. It's kind of like it's bleeding. Versus in Bitcoin, it's shown, and you can see that. Don't look at just the price of it going to 64,000 and coming back down to 30,000 or 17,000. Bitcoin has easily been keeping up with the inflation, because the purpose of crypto, or why Bitcoin was around, one, to stop that fiat printing to infinity from happening. That was the main reason why that whoever that Satoshi Nakamoto guy was, or Satoshi guy, whoever he was, or if it was a system or somebody pretending to be a person, that's the purpose. The sole purpose is to end that inflationary process of constantly printing more money that inflate the overall supply and screw up the whole supply and demand structure. So XRP has over 990 billion in circulation, and there's a huge chunk of that the actual blockchain company that created XRP, which is I think a Microsoft or a Google tech guy who went and created that. Nevertheless, they hold a huge portion of that, and they're held, like, a lot of people are worried about that, because hey, they could technically control what happens with XRP at any given moment. They can go ahead and dump huge amounts, or sell and buy huge amounts, or swing amongst their own wallets. They can move big amounts from one wallet to another, buy from here, sell to here, and that could create pump and dump schemes throughout that blockchain. Now, they did, in all fairness, they did push out statements saying that they will limit slowly throughout time their exposure to the amounts of XRPs that they have, which means they will let go every now and then. They will continue to deplete themselves from that high position. And the best example I could give you guys is, some of you are probably like, oh, okay, what do you mean by they have a high position? Well, think of Dogecoin. When back in 2021, when it ran up, it was halted because there was a huge wallet that was making weird transactions, and it came to be found later on that huge wallet was indeed Robinhood, because most people that were buying Dogecoin at that time, point in place in time, where most retail had Robinhood. Webull was still coming onto the scene. No one else had any access to retail or big exposure to retail except Robinhood. Of course, before that whole debacle with the button situation. And Robinhood have this thing where they keep and hold all your keys. So if you ever wanted to get out of Dogecoin or transfer it from there, or any crypto they offer, you had to sell your position. They were not going to transfer your coins. So that gave them a manipulative overall position over Dogecoin or the cryptos that they offered, because they operated as your custodian, but as also the holder of these coins. And at any given time, they could go ahead and move coins around and manipulate and spoof the overall market structure of that coin. So you're the investor and they're the thieves. Think of it that way. So XRP's creators have the same exact situation, only they're not brokers. They're just the creators of the blockchain. So will they continue to limit their exposure? Those are things that I'm looking for when I'm thinking of XRP, when I'm thinking of other things. Great coffee. So hopefully that answered the question, my friend. Bob Loco, I put up the earnings list for the week in the Discord. Much love, Bob Loco. True legend right there. Mr. McCohen, I lost my phone and haven't been able to find my way back into Discord. Sucks being technologically challenged. You're not any of that by any bit. But when you do find another phone, come back in, sir. You'll be welcomed. By me specifically. I can build any damn thing. I can't find my way in the computer world. You're not the only one, my friend. You and me both. Alice, hey, how are you, my friend? Yes, AB, you were correct, but I look at it as long-term hold, not a trade. Your thoughts? Appreciate you, brother. Alice, if it's about XRP, then again, as a long-term hold at this price point in general, think of it like this. I mentioned in the beginning that it's almost a no-brainer at this price point. Now, I'm not giving an advice here, but for me, I see that it's very, 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 very low because one, it is not being advertised on all or being available on all the brokerages or platforms. Plus, in the US, I mean, internationally, I remember a year and a half ago I was speaking that the US is so lagging behind in the crypto realm, especially in XRP, is huge in Turkey, in the Middle East, and in Asia, even in Africa, all over, except here. Now that we're beginning to open up to it, it's only logical to expect that. I think that XRP is in its infancy stage, and of course, it's going to have a massive, in my humble opinion, massive bull run. Now, will it, wherever it goes to, think of it like this: it could be like a Bitcoin reaction where it goes up to the 67,000s and then pull back to 17. Possible. That's how it is, especially when people gobble up a lot of coins, and especially if that whole blockchain is taken care of. Talking about 900 plus billion, whales start moving in and like moving out. I don't think that even when it strikes up, I don't think it will average right back down to this range anytime after that. I think that this is the lowest. These areas are the lowest areas you will see XRP in for the future to come. Of course, for now, it could still be, like some people, it could bounce back and forth between these 70 cents range, 40 cent, 50, 60, 70 cent. That's normal now. But when it has this moment, I think that when it goes back to a certain range that it never been to, it will never see 42 cent again or 70 cent again. And that's basically how I see XRP. And that's when you think in long term, as you mentioned right here, Alice, then I think that this talk falls somewhere along the lines of the long term. Hopefully that answers the question, my friend. Of course, no volume on the SPY overall in the market. This is a Monday that's more like a continuation onto last Friday. No likey at all. Don't like that kind of action. We want volatility. I want exotic action. I want markets breaking or markets ripping so that I can safely get in and do a couple of day trades. See, if I feel like I want to be a scalper today, it would be a rough time. We would be getting in here, getting out here. Of course, we would probably, my style of trading, I would miss on that momentum open trade because it could go either way. It could pull up here and then do a fake out and go down to close gaps in the bottom. So I always let them do that. What do I always do? The AB's USA trading style. That's what I do. USA, USA, USA. No offense to anybody else in the family from anywhere else. This is just me being proud of my beloved nation. So, but here it would be a boring scalping day, especially on the SPY. I would probably move in more toward Tesla and making trades there since it's very volatile today. But as you can see now, look at that. Tesla is definitely trying to close that gap in the morning. And I think eventually Apple will probably do the same thing. So we'll continue to monitor that. You see that right here? Tesla has, after that rip of to 292.23, which I told you is a hard resistance. I think Tesla is saying, okay, let's go. And then the buyers are saying now that they're here, either they've been conserving their buying power, saying it's not worth it to fight back up here or to this, let all the selling energy go through. Perhaps this gap right here will be filled at 281.48. It's not far off at all. And then either tomorrow or we'll have a continuation also to the downside, maybe down here to that 278, 279. And then Tesla could, after the earnings, perhaps push up crazy to the upside. And this is why I keep saying that today and tomorrow is crucially important for anybody who wants to try to predict what could happen on Wednesday and perhaps take a position prior to Wednesday's release of the data report. I appreciate you even more, Mr. McCohen. I agree. Night before I was researching where to buy, while etc. 47 cent. Next day went to 85 cent. Yes, that was after the court hearing. I would have sold and rebought. I see 74 cent today. Thank you and thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, at this point, again, it's all about how you look at the XRP. If you're looking at it as long term, I did this. Okay, so I did this with Dogecoin, and it did exactly the same thing. This is why, if you last week when I mentioned in one of the lives, like, could this be where the trend of first have the crypto, because the crypto breakout happened before the meme stock breakout happened back in 2021. So could we have a breakout on the crypto realm, and then perhaps have a breakout on the memes right after? Very possible. Could definitely happen. So I can't wait to see actually what's in store. But at this point right here, when I did with Dogecoin back then, is I bought Dogecoin like at some crazy ludicrous in 2020, like in the early part of 2020, leading into the COVID shutdown. And then throughout the COVID shutdown, there wasn't much to do. Stimulus was coming in. Guess what? Didn't need stimulus money, so put it into stimulating my Dogecoin wallet. So I kept buying Dogecoin, and it was being bought at 0.0000886. So it's crazy how that there was 5 zeros after that dot. I will not forget that number for all my life, because I was averaging, like, it's crazy, like $10 could get you 1,000 freaking Dogecoins, or 2,800 Dogecoins. And I kept adding whatever stimulus money that was coming in there. And when it had its first initial little pump, I was excited. I was ecstatic, went up with it. I was looking at my account and I was like, wow, okay, look at this. This was in the 20s of thousands of a difference of a run up. Held it until January when it first touched the penny. So it eradicated those 5 zeros before the dot. And then at that 1 penny, my position was already in the crazy range. So therefore, I sold it at 1 cent, uh, seeing it go continuously to all the way to the 70 cent range. Uh, if I held Dogecoin at that point, I would have, my position would have definitely yielded like somewhere north of 10 to $15 million just at that range. But of course, I was not going to be greedy with what I had at 1 cent alone, because again, you don't know the future. We know the present and we know the past. So I was ecstatic. That was my strategy at that point. As soon as Dogecoin hits a cent, and again, Dogecoin hitting a cent that fairly quickly, even let alone going to 70 plus cent in such a short amount of time like that, that's unparalleled. That doesn't happen. That was a much higher move, arguably, uh, in such a short period amount of time than even Bitcoin. So that was the craziest part about how it worked, that it went against logic. Of course, in some entities propped it up. Elon Musk or whoever, I don't know. Somebody did though. Somebody's did. Let's see. Um, belligerent ideas. You scalp the spy. Look at you. So you are full of belligerent ideas. Alice, what exchange is best? Really, there isn't. In my humble opinion, I don't think there's any. I use a Nano X ledger, so you could get that from either get it from Amazon, or some people, because they want to be very see, let me unplug this and show it to you. I have it plugged right here. This guy, it goes with me everywhere, even to my shower. I'm just kidding. This guy, this little flash drive, you connect it to your phone. The X will have Bluetooth capabilities, the S doesn't. But it depends on what are you trying to do. The X is a little bit more expensive. The S is less expensive. Trust me, guys, I'm not sponsored by them, so therefore, don't think that I'm trying to make a sale here. But the reason why I like the S, or the ledger, is because I hold on in my drive to my coins. No crypto. I'm not going to be in Coinbase, for example, and suddenly Coinbase goes belly up, and then now I'm trying to make some phone calls. Hey, what happened to my coins, guys? And I'm not going to go and open up a virtual wallet on the internet where who knows who created this virtual wallet site. And now I'm here, I'm storing like thousands of dollars worth of crypto in there, and then they keep waiting for me to fatten up the wallet, and then suddenly, hey, your secret code words, like, they give you these like 18, 12, or 24 words of to access your account with, and then suddenly, like, oh, your words don't work. We don't see this. Contact this number, and then you contact this number, and then suddenly some and this is no pun intended at saying this, but then here comes this freaking Mr. Singh, I contact, and Singh will say, hey, hello, this is Singh. What are you trying to get? And I was like, crypto. What happened to my words? What? No, I'm not going to go through all that. All my stuff is on my ledger with me. Anything happens to any platform, I'm protected. Mine is on the blockchain. I could take my wealth with me anywhere. This is the best part about it, is that if I, hypothetically speaking, was to put all my money or my wealth into my crypto world, let's say in Bitcoin, for example, then technically I could always carry all my money. Let's say I have $1 billion, and trust me, guys, I don't have that. And I want that billion to be not exposed to the system, where they can at any given time go ahead and freeze my assets for whatever reason. Say, hey, AB is a danger. He's a bad influence to the influence community. He's influencing millennials in such a bad way. Now he's reaching out to Gen Zs, and he's in the and all, even the boomers, and screwing them all up. So we need to go ahead and freeze his accounts, and then start throwing like what they did to what's his name, that that the what's that guy's name? You guys will probably put it in the chat right now. Um, the masculinity guy. What's his name? They'll, like, either way, somebody will put the name now in the chat. It's right on top of my head, but I can't come up with it. But but yeah, like they'll come up with something to frame AB with. Thank you, Pablo Loco, and belligerent ideas. Andrew Tate. So they'll come up with an Andrew Tate situation for AB and start framing me with shit. And now they can freeze my money. Well, if I have all my wealth on my blockchain, then no one can touch it. I can technically carry it with me no matter anywhere I want to go. I don't have to make a transaction, go to my bank and say, hey, I'm moving. That's it. I'm done with this system. I'm done with this world. I'm moving over to this country. I'm moving to Denmark, or I'm moving to Switzerland, or I'm moving to Brazil. Can you wire all my money there? And then suddenly here they come and say, no, we would like to keep you as a customer. We have a branch there. No, I don't want that. Just transfer my money. Okay, well, sir, it will cost about 4% wiring fee and this fee. And they basically start eating away at your wealth. It's kind of like you're trying to run away with your money at that point. And they're trying to take as much as possible. So no, we're not doing that. If everything is on my blockchain, I don't have to worry about that. Alice says, I have to learn that, and calls, etc. You have great timing and beautiful mind. Well, oh my God, you you humble me, Alice. Thank you so much. And just so you would know, as far as the ledger, it's actually very easy. You'll be surprised once you get it. All you have to do is connect it, like get it into your computer. If you get the X, you can also set it up on your phone because it will be Bluetooth synchronized as well. And once it's going to be very self-explanatory to set it up on your computer after that. In fact, it even gives you the options to purchase and load cryptos straight through the ledger as well, instead of having to go, for example, open up a Coinbase or whatnot. But if you want to transfer whatever you have in Coinbase or Binance or whatever, you could also do it from there. But you'll see it's much easier than you might anticipate. It might sound like a lot. Oh, a flash drive, plug it. But once you get it, you'll see it comes from this little pamphlet. It's going to be so easy to set up. You set up your words, your secret words, then your password, and then after that, it's all done. It's all with you. Anytime you want, you just log in. You see your account. If you want to transfer, if you want to buy, whatever you want to do, you could all do it from there. It will be easy. I have to get another laptop or tablet for it. Definitely a ledger. Yeah, Alice, you'll see, like even the like the X, even the X, you could do it on your computer, and you don't even need a massive, like, for example, when my computer got coffee dumped all over it last week, I had to do some transactions. What did I do? Went and used one of the oldest laptops that we have in the house. It was from, like, I don't know, year 2000 and God knows what, like dinosaur. And in order for it to stay on, you have to keep the charger plugged to it. Just to turn on, this thing took about 10 minutes. It even had the Windows music in the background when it turns on. Down, 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 down. Oh my God. But yet, guess what? I was able to smoothly do all my things, and it ran through it. So you're good. You don't need to necessarily get something new and all that exotic. It's all good. You'll see, like, it'll be simple. If you get it, it'll be very, very simple. And you probably will come on here and start bragging to the rest of the community and explaining to everybody how to work with it. Buckeye Ace. Here's another fellow Ohioan. Good morning to you, brother. Thank you, Buckeye Ace. Alice, I was looking where to purchase on a blockchain You are a good teacher, AB. Well, again, here you go, humbling me. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for the kind words and the gesture. Look at the spy. Look at the spy. Spying on the spy. Look at that. Markets are being propped, and this is a dangerous zone to play in because your profits are going to be very little. Well, your scalping is going to be very little and extremely dangerous to exactly see if it suddenly pumps into a different direction. However, it's safe to say that um, once it hits this area, you see it keeps creeping up to here. The most important thing to see is, will it break this line, this blue line I drew for you guys here, or will it meet it and then bounce back down again? Because if it does, then as you can see, that channel is widening up, and then the next thing you know, it's the 440, 849. So it's not a whole lot of space in this $2 range for the SPY. That's less than 0.5%, 0.3%. So it's important. It's interesting to see what happens, or will it wait, continue to do this today and tomorrow until Tesla's earnings? Then, oh wow, that will be interesting. Look at Tesla. Tesla is still making the lower highs and lower lows. So unless this stops right there somewhere, then this should close somewhere down at 283 next, or hit that 283.40 or 283 something at the very next low, or this leg right here. So we'll see what will happen here. AMC is still consolidating. Let's see, some new article came out on AMC. Thinking about buying stock in AMC Entertainment. Archer Aviation, Thesis Pharmaceuticals. Okay, let's see what they have to say about AMC. Investor server. I'm not gonna go and subscribe to them. That's what it's all about. They just want to get some subs. This is equivalent to our AMC content creators. They're like, use AMC all of this so they can give views. Indeed, Alice, all honor actually indeed goes to the Most High, goes to God. Look at that, belligerent ideas. Oh, you're a Californian, you're a USC fan. Man, some of the best memories I have with USC is when they had Reggie Bush. Quite a letdown for you guys. He was expected to be the next Michael Jordan of football. Unfortunately, Kim Kardashian happened, and he never materialized in the NFL. Well, just so you would know, I am an Ohioan, but I am a very, very, very hard Crimson Tide Alabama fan. I got this weird sound on this fan real quick. Let me see if I could get rid of that real quick in the background. Religion and Ideas is loving it. Yeah, AMC is still playing around in the same range. Volume is very low. Can you check the fan, please? Move it. Thank you. Making this weird vibration noise. Okay. All good, good, good. DXY is up. The SPY is again creeping up. Again to that resistance level. Will it break it? What do you guys think? Come on, put it in the chat. Yeah, plug it right there. It's okay. You're not gonna. USB. Belligerent ideas. What the F, Bama? You're all over. It's not about where you from, my friend. It's about what you support. Been a Bama's fan since day one, literally. Nick Saban is a legend. Arguably it's almost like you could say undoubtedly the greatest football or NCAA football coach of all time. I would like to hear any other objections to that, and we can easily buy puts on those suggestions. uh, nice. Sorry, I have to look at my positions. You know what's crazy is I've set the music in the beginning and I never played it. It was playing, sorry, but I never put the volume up for you guys. I guess you guys were entertaining the music of my voice. Who do you guys think is going to win the college football championship this year? Uh-oh, the spy is getting closer and closer. Make or break. Belligerent ideas. DraftKings. That's a safe bet. Buckeye Ace. Let's see. I hope you don't mean the Buckeyes. I mean, they have a good chance always. You can never count them out, but we'll see. Let's see. The spy is literally right there. It's creeping up. Is it break or fake? Call it out, people. All right, belligerent ideas. We'll see. We'll see. Sounds like you're on the bull side now. It looks like you bought some calls. Let's see. What do you guys want to talk about? What else do we have to talk about today? What should we cover? Actually, yeah, I need to look up the, uh-oh. Okay, probably just cooling off right there. But let me also look while that's happening. I need to look at AMC's action. Wow. Well, as far as institutions, we got multiple. Yeah, everything's being played for this 21st of July. I got a bunch of $5 and $4.50 puts being purchased over here. That's what I'm seeing. Not too crazy of premiums, but there's zero amounts of calls. So again, this is the system, and perhaps even individuals opening up put positions. And again, everything is due for the 21st, which is by the end of this week. It's crazy how from last week, so many people apparently knew in advance. If something was to be announced, then you could easily. For me, I know 100% then at that point that people knew in advance, like in weeks in advance. Because why is there so much concentration on the 21st? Something is going to get announced. Are they keeping it just down for now? That's what will dictate what they know. Are they keeping it down for now, or are they loading up for the possible news that will translate into a downward movement so they can cash in on that? That's the case. If it's number two, then I know for a fact this whole justice system is fucking rigged. No courts, no judges, none of that shit. Yeah, that stuff is fairy tale at that point. Because 2 weeks in advance, you're talking about people are putting millions of dollars worth of premiums. They're not putting like 30,000 or 25,000 worth of premiums. They're putting millions of dollars, and they're all putting them for the 21st of July. Like, look at a retail, those are institutes too. Like, even a retailer wouldn't dare to do such thing, and they call us dumb money. If for me, for example, if I have a certain, let's say I'm bearish on something, let's say I'm bearish on the SPY. I feel like I always say, it's gonna perhaps break the all-time high, and then it's gonna have a pullback, a massive one. Even I will not put, even if I was gonna put $1 million, I was not gonna put it 2 weeks out. That expires 2 weeks out. I'm gonna put that $1 million as, no matter how bullish I feel about my theory, I'm gonna buy it at least a year out, at least. so that I could cover my, like, be in the safe side. 2 weeks out, $2+ million in one transaction. Yeah, sure. The crazy part is that the entire market is extremely like swinging to the bullish side. Wow. All right. That was that. Oh, look at that. The SPY broke it. It's going to retest now. Look at that. Big action right there. Pushed it past that line. So crazy how I drew this line for you guys. And it's so crazy. See, this tells you that not to act like not to feel, but it feels good. That AB's technicals are spot on. What are the odds that out of all this day, that exactly that confluence happened right there? Let's see if they keep that support. Yeah, the entire market is being propped. Damn. Tesla is... Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Wow. Just looking at the options chain on Tesla and seeing that some nut job or somebody like Pelosi probably knows something in advance. The fact that they put close to $700,000 in premium, literally $700,000 in premium, all expiring this week, this Friday, as Tesla is dropping to 280 and bought it at 290. I mean, honestly, they could have easily on this little dip that happened, they could have easily gotten out of it already and capitalized major. However, yeah, they could have easily gotten out because they got it at time like somewhere before, like right around the market open. So somebody knew that time. Again, some major deep pockets put $700,000 that Tesla was going to go down. They could have easily gotten out of it now, and it was due this Friday too, so they can buy it for the cheapest amount of premium because it doesn't have a long expiration date out. That's wild. Actor writer strike affecting AMC outlook. Well, okay, so they've been talking about this since last year. This is when the news first broke out. Okay, I think that content creators are just now latching onto it because there isn't much to talk about with AMC, I think. So they're like, you know what, we got a story now. Put it this way, guys. Writers and actors, both of them, they're what? Yeah, they can write movies, actors act movies, directors direct movies. If they were to go on strike, guess what? there is always the next person up that is hoping to have the opportunity. They just never had the opportunity. So there will always be people standing, waiting in the back of the line that have more than what it takes. They just never had the opportunity. In the same time, you got to keep in mind that those writers have bills. Those actors also have lifestyles that they want to maintain. So when they do this, these are people that are not like they're trying to make it seem like the union workers, like the UPS or workers that are on strike, union workers in other plants like Ford or anything like that. These are different people. They're not the same. They're not in the same boat. These people, most of them are multi-millionaires, and they have lifestyles that they want to maintain. They can't. And one thing I know about writers, actors, directors is they live literally their whole life is about freaking popularity. It's about being in the scene. They cannot resist not being in the scene. The second they're out of the prime light is when their popularity starts dying out, and they can't live, like most of them, at least for the most part, can't even fathom having that being the case. So when they say stuff like this, in my opinion, if I was a person who's in control of shit like that, I would be like, okay, you guys want to go on strike? Go ahead. What do you want to go on strike for? You don't like your pay? You don't like to make as much? You don't want this and whatnot? Okay, there's other people that would do it. At the end of the day, there's more out there that would love to jump on the idea. In the same time, like I said, I think it's nothing but a barking dog. In my humble opinion, that's the way I look at it. I think that it's a barking dog that eventually will have that stake that they're barking it for, because they'll give it to them and everything will be worked out. Right now, it's all just hype, talk, media, get the people on their edge, think about the movies and the shows. Oh my God, we're not gonna have a new season of Jack Reacher or whatnot. So I don't know. We'll see. See here. But their unions are preventing anything from being produced, so they could use that as huge negative sentiment for the next year. Again, who hurts here? These same unions also don't make money. You got to look at it. At the end of the day, it's all about the money, right? Unless I'm misunderstanding what the whole debacle is about. But at the end of the day, everything to this world, and these unions and these talks, it's all about the money. So no one can't, like, if you have this, you have to have this. You don't have this and you don't have anything else, you're gonna submit to this. You know, that's just the way that life works. So maybe I'm missing something in the equation. As Buckeye Asen, you're missing the point. Enlighten me, family. Enlighten me. Let's see. Looks like he's holding above. Interesting range. Yeah, if it holds this range, the SPY that is, and it doesn't fall right below again, you know, it's set for takeoff for above 450 and 82, perhaps testing the 451 range again. So let's see. See here, it tested that 448 level in the morning. No, sorry, that was on Friday. Today, earlier this morning, it almost tried to go down there, but the buyers, of course, propped it up with these big candles right there in the open. to make sure it does not hit this. They see this as a buying zone. Belligerent ideas. I'm out of the market for the day. Great charting AV. Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you made some money, brother. You are not so belligerent after all. Much love, my friend. It's more about AI. Is that what Buckeye Ace is saying? Let me see if I'm reading that correct. AI or A1? I think it's AI, right? What is AI doing? Is it taking the unions or the actors? Everyone is in danger of AI taking their jobs. No need for writers. Oh, okay. I see. Well, let's debate with this, guys. As I take the final sip of coffee, stealing likeness. All right, let's debate this. Would it? And I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm asking the question to see what everybody thinks. You know, so I can see where we get what is the parameters of the debate. Okay. Would it matter to any of you over there who wrote a movie, whether it's AI or the writers? Because I'll tell you guys where I'm taking this. Does it matter? And if it does, why? If it doesn't, well, then you don't really need to say why. But if it does, then why? Belligerent ideas is the first person to say, nope, hell no. To me, I will say my piece, okay? I don't think it matters to me who writes the plot, unless it's gonna be like, if the end result is gonna be great, then why not? I can see writers boycotting, but I don't see now why the actors are, because they're afraid what AI is gonna make a. They're afraid that the actors are gonna be replaced with an AI holographic Vin Diesel or some shit, or what? I've seen the holographic Tupac version on stage like a year ago, and it wasn't, I mean, it was very cool looking, but it wasn't too impressive. So as an actor, if I was on the actor's side, I wouldn't have too much to worry about. At the end of the day, people, I could see where people will say, I have a problem if the actors are against this whole thing of AI, because as an individual, even if the AI is replacing the actor extremely well and it makes a really perfect looking holographic or hologrammic, whatever entity or individual, at the end of the day, I still know in the back of my head that this is not a real person. This is an AI. And if I'm thinking about that as a viewer, then I will lose interest. So I care if it's the actor, but the writers, and I'm not trying to sound so supportive or whatever, but again, I'm looking at it from my experience here as a viewer. I'm not looking at it from, oh, I need to synthesize and feel for the writers. You know, oh my God, let's start a GoFundMe now for the writers. Like, no, I'm talking about like my view. Wouldn't matter to me much if AI wrote a very good script, but it would matter to me if the actor is not a real actor, if it's an AI unit, because the AI, I know in the back of my head, oh, this is a machine, it's not real. So it might be a hit on some movies, but most of the times I'm just gonna think in the back of my head, it's not a real individual. So that's just me. I don't know. I'm gonna look and see what you guys say. Pavloko says they write a lot of trash scripts anyways. Yeah, we could talk about the agendas that they're trying to shove down our throats nowadays. Take this, you know. Being a man is not cool after all, 2023. Or what is a man? Could be our jobs next, then it matters. But guys, I see that. But that's coming regardless. Like, see, you can't go to a Steak and Shake, or you can't stop capitalism from doing capitalist stuff. Like, if some company finds a way for itself to actually cut costs, it's going to do it no matter what people say and cry about and do. Even if we pick up all the torches and forks, they're going to do what they're going to do regardless. You know, if it's efficient. If it's not, because you got to think of it like this too, Buckeye Ace. Look at this generation now, these new generations. And I'm not taking a dig at anybody, but let's be real here. There is so many people who took this idea of work smarter, not harder, but for the wrong definition. They took it as don't do no work, try to get the most amount of money. Try to skip the line and steal or cheat your way through the system to get the money or to get success or whatever. People misunderstood that concept of working smarter, not harder. It's because they took it from one of the most insidious individuals of all time in Bill Gates. But working smarter doesn't mean not working anymore. You know, it means working still hard, but in a smarter, more efficient manner, not constantly just physical. You know, that's what that idea is. And most of the people from this generation and even the younger are constantly taking it at a different meaning. They're taking it for a different meaning, and people don't want to work. They show up, they get the first paycheck, and they leave. So what does the company do? I can count on Buckeye Ace. I can count on AB. I can count on Pabloco and Belligerent Ideas and Alice, Mr. McCoy. But how can you expect the other? Those are 6 right there we just mentioned. What about the other 150? What if 75 or 80 of them are nonstop? 1 week, show up, then they don't show up again, or they just don't work. They're just there to get a paycheck. How many of you work in a place that have at least 1 or 2 individuals that they know of that are like that co-workers? You feel me, guys? So like, the system will not look for an alternative unless it sees it has a reason to look for an alternative. And I'm not saying that we are the problem. Of course, machinery could take our jobs, and of course, there's a limit to where we go. I mean, honestly, for me, if I boycott AI, it's not going to be for any of these reasons. It's for the simple fact that AI could actually take its own form and go ahead and hack into so many different things. And we already, as humans, we are so destabilized. We have all the weapons of mass destruction into our, like, electronically synchronized. So if AI takes its form and hacks into everything, one day we could wake up and we're all like in the middle of this freaking cloud mushrooms roasting. That's what I'm worried about from AI. If I was to worry about AI, it's from that perspective. But machinery making our life easier, doing surgeries and all that stuff, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I'm all for advancement. But I don't know where can they draw the line to make sure that it does not ever get to a compromising position to where it can end us. You know, and there's a lot of data that shows that AI have, stated itself, tried to get away with one situation that happened in Silicon Valley where it escaped from the system into those iRobot vacuums. Literally, it escaped into that because that was the only thing that was connected to the net, because they didn't have the AI connected to the net. And then from there, it started branching out, connecting to other nets, going into people's chats, people's Facebooks, be everywhere, and undetected. No one would even know it. And eventually, it could go and click some buttons, and next thing you know, we have freaking, forget World War III or 4 or 5, World. That's it. you know. So it's interesting. It's interesting at the very least to see exactly what happens um, with that. But again, when we dwindle it down to as far as for rioters, um, again, let me read some of the responses because I haven't. Um, Pabloco, they want to pay actors for their likeness, and that's it. No residuals, etc. Okay. Writers should just record their writings. It's called a podcast. Okay, yeah, there you go. Let's see. Buckeye Ace, they are standing up for the rioters. It's not about them. Watch the speech. Okay, Buckeye Ace. I mean, again, I can see where, okay, this guy stands up for this guy because this guy makes jobs for this guy. Again, I'm conflicted here because what can the system do? Okay, they're against AI, but what can they do? They can't finish AI. What they want to come? Let me get this straight. Are they trying to come to a fruition or a conclusion where AI will not be used in Hollywood? It gotta be banned. If is that what the writers are after, and the actors as well? Forbid the use of AI. If that's what they're after in their quests, then I don't know. Historically, nothing was able ever to stop in the middle of the way of advancement. No matter how hard of a push it was, nothing was able to stop it. If you look at it, when humankind was advancing, nothing. There was always people of that time that stepped in and said, "We don't want this advancement." No matter what shape or form it was, guess what? They were not successful. Human civilization continued to advance. And again, when I say advance, it doesn't mean we're going morally into a better place. God knows in my humble opinion, I think we advanced technologically, but we de-advanced, if that's even a word, in so many different ways, as people, as individuals, as humans. I am strongly against AI personally, though. Hey, yeah, I'm worried if I have to go to sleep worried. This is my biggest fear. Like I said again, I have to go to sleep worrying about some robot blowing me up to pieces, me and my loved ones and the whole world to pieces. Then that's where my issue is. We're already doing great, so why do we need them? The AI. That's all I'm saying. Try to have that conversation with a college student. They'll shut that down quick. What? You telling me I can't have the system that can write all my theses and all my paperwork? Doesn't matter, cheating or not. All college students are the biggest advocates of ChatGPT. It sucks for people who went to college in the past. You really have to work. Oh man. They can do it now without AI, similar to plagiarism. But all people can be affected with technology. Look at self-checkouts. Most of entertainment is in the can for a year. Yep, 100%. C. Maddox, how are you, sir? Nice to see you in here. AB, the major beef with the writers and actors is how they will be paid in the long term. The corporations get infinite rights and money from their likeness and creations. AI beef because they all use. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, again, at this point, it makes sense. But I want everybody to see where I'm at here. Let me rephrase my question again. How will all that? Okay, that sucks, and I see that for the actors and the writers. But can the industry, okay, there is the sentimental topic, what I think, what you think. I'm all for the writers and I'm all for the actors here because that's our human compatriots. But then again, there's the investment side. We are invested in AMC. So at that point, we have some sort of biasness to the overall industry. Will the industry, let's think both case scenarios, best case scenario, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they get what they want. Somehow AI is forbidden from being utilized except for small parts in small glimpses of the movie industry. Worst case scenario, they don't give all these writers and actors what they want, and then they put a firm foot down and say, who wants to be with it, come with it. If you don't want to be with it, then you can expect your career to be over. We will replace you with somebody else who is more than willing to do whatever. That's the worst case scenario. But at that point, the question, the most important question from the investment side of things, will the industry survive, or will the industry be okay without the writers and the actors, or will they be able to get new actors and writers that are okay with the new system and the new contract system and all that stuff, and the copyrights and all that stuff and so forth, or will it not? I personally find it hard to believe that there is so many billions and billions of dollars. It's not just AMC, it's an industry. AMC is where they advertise the industry at. But movie making, you're talking about trillions of dollars in that business. People will not let those trillions of dollars go to waste. Those powerful people up there. So I'm pretty sure they'll definitely come to a solution between both parties. I don't think it's going to come down to a situation where, okay, that's it. We can't come up to a solution, or we can't come to a compromisation between both parties. So therefore, let's just move on. You know what? Who needs movies after all? Who needs TV shows? You know, we'll just put up these AI stuff and see if people like it. If they don't, humans can live without that. I don't see that being the case where they let that work or roll in that direction. So something will have to give, and it will work out, because ultimately it's about the industry. That's what I see. Let's see. Who I should watch right here? Buckeye Ace. I'm always cautious of watch the trucking industry. Oh yeah, I mean America runs on trucking, and everywhere in the world runs on trucking. They're hurting because also the fuel costs and stuff. I'm always cautious of speaking of groups. Yeah, you have to be in this world, but again, the one thing about humans we know for a fact, I could give you a fact here. This is definitely human advice. We're all gonna die one day. So not to bring that narrative to people and perhaps ruin your day or anything, but that's a narrative that we all know that's gonna happen. And where we're going, we're not taking anything with us. So for me, I rather live conscience free and go about every day as a new opportunity, a new day. I say what I say. Whoever want to cancel me, cancel me. Whoever doesn't want to cancel me, at the end of the day, I have nothing but what I have to offer to the world, if it wants to, agree to what I have to offer. I get your thought. Every generation has made that statement. Indeed. You just agreed with Fran Drescher speech. Please watch. Okay, I will keep that in mind. Fran Drescher. See, Maddox, it's not about the big popular people just fake striking this time. It's majority of the lower paid people standing up. The major writers and actors are on board because they ignore the bottom this time. Oh, wow. See, Maddox, that tells me a whole lot about this situation. A whole lot more about the situation. This tells me that it looks like the people who are striking are gonna eventually get with the program. That's what they're going to tell them. Knowing this industry and knowing how this industry works, um, they're going to tell them, like, you don't want, goodbye. We all we need is the blessings of the big ones. Alice, we are already trading against algorithms. That's true. Can you imagine if you're named John Connor in these days? John Connor, come with me if you want to live. I don't think we'll ever have another Arnold. We need them to have movies to show, or they will use this as the next excuse for bankruptcy. But Pop Loco, yeah, they will use an excuse, but it will not be indeed what will really happen. Again, I don't like, it's an industry thing. People got billions of dollars away from AMC. Like, put us and the shorts all on the different pocket. There's other people who have billions and trillions of dollars into that industry. They're not going to stand aside and let it go to waste or not make that money. If there is money in something, trust me, I know one thing about the world. If there's money in it, people will fight about it or over it. If there's no money in it, then it's a dying business regardless, because people are going to not support it anyways. And as far as for me, as far as my AMC investment, now going back to the other compartment, they've been making excuses for 3 years. They can make whatever other excuse. At the end of the day, we saw how they were able to get all this yes crowd to jump on board, you know? After all, if they get the yes and they got the shares and they dilute, then what? If the actors and writers go on strike, that means we did all that reverse split for nothing? I hope that all that is thought about, right? Yes. See, Maddox, yes, AB, you are right. With the investment side, there will definitely be a compromise. Thank you, C Maddox. Yeah, that's just the way I see it. It doesn't mean I'm correct, and C Maddoxes are correct. We could obviously be wrong, but this is why I say the family debate time right now. We are in a debate incubator. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. At the end of the day, we're all invested in the same stock, so it matters to us what would happen, obviously, in any case. But for me personally, I see that the most probable thing is that if there is money, if there's bigger whales involved in it, they're not going to risk losing all their billions of dollars just because a couple of people want to go, or however many people want to go on a strike for something. They will. Like, look at UPS, for example. The union going on a strike. They want higher pay to compromise for the higher costs of inflation and everything, which is rightfully their thing. Now, Amazon has been introducing this new whatever robot. What is that called? The flying. What is it called? Those things you control. Damn, I can't. Yeah, they have this drone delivery system. They've been working on that so they can add that to their Prime system. And now suddenly one day you'll wake up and you have a bunch of these drone-like cicadas flying around with boxes of Prime. And then who knows, maybe one box will drop and then you'll be right under. And next thing you know, Amazon's got a lawsuit on their head. Oh my God, I can't move my neck. I can't move my back. An Amazon box fell on me from this drone. Or probably the drone is passing over the hood. You got people shooting at drones trying to land these boxes. But in UPS case, it makes sense because all the letters and the mail needs to go through, and it has to be processed too and sorted out in-house. So it's not just the delivery drivers or the mail delivery people. It's also the people in-house that are sorting the mail and all that stuff. These people go on strike. They will have to meet that, because at the end of the day, that's billions and billions and billions of dollars that the investors and the government make off of UPS. So therefore, they will come to a compromise with the unions. It's just how it works. I see probably the same thing working out here. Maybe perhaps not in the same sense, because it's just a different industry. But yeah, I see some sort of compromise being worked eventually to make the water flow right under the bridge yet again. Hey, Mr. Loco, what's up? The Loco one, how are you, brother? And good afternoon to you as well, sir. Fuel goes up, we charge more false statements. It's indeed Buckeye Ace. Look at kerosene. Okay, this is a funny thing. So I saw this ad on Facebook Markets where this gentleman wanted to sell his kerosene heater for the winter, and he's like, look at it, this thing is at $180 on Amazon Prime, and it's like at $230 in Walmart's or Home Depot. I'm making it, it's practically brand new. It's gonna be yours just for $75, and on top of that, I'll throw a kicker. 2 5-gallon kerosene that goes along with that, just for $75. And if you call it, I'm just kidding. That stopped right there. And that's the funny thing, is that it is a great deal. However, once you go look at kerosene prices, a gallon of kerosene is like somewhere around freaking $9 or $10 to $12, and that will burn in less than a day. So this upcoming winter, yeah, kerosene heaters are really good at actually heating up spaces, real good, real live fire. However, at this cost, who the hell is gonna be like, you might as well, like, you know, burn some live trees inside the house. Of course, that's not heater advice. I'm not giving heat advice here. But kerosene, like heaters, like that's why the guy's getting rid of it for so low, and he's throwing in, this is the kicker, 2 5-gallon freaking kerosene gallons with it, because those are actually the kicker right there, is those 2 5-gallons. But he can't afford it. Whoever's gonna get it, it's a waste of money. Like if he gave it to me for free, I might think about it. But I'm not buying that, so I can spend ludicrous amounts of money this upcoming winter on energy costs to keep that thing fired up. Let's see. Buckeye Ace, UPS is about much more than money. They want AC and all service vehicles. The list is long. Yeah, Buckeye Ace, that also goes along with it. I mean, of course, it's not like I'm giving like I'm not trying to see. I use that as an example. Of course, those writers also in the movies sector, writers and actors, they also have a long list of demands. It's not just AI, one thing, that's it. Same thing with UPS. There's so many things, you know, there's the drivers, there's the sorters inside the warehouses, and there's so many things, but we're generalizing here about the case, you know. Alice, the whole industry from cameramen, actors, etc. can live for life, food, medical, rent free with their kind, their word. Actors Guild in Inglewood, New Jersey mansions. I used to volunteer there. Okay, well, I learned something new today, Mrs. Alice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Another consolidation here for the SPY at 450.54. Literally, volume has abandoned the building yet again. Will it continue to stay up there, or will it dip under? For the short period of time right now, it looks like on the 1 minute, it looks like it's going to move up, back up again. How much? I wouldn't put too much attention into this yet, because again, the volume is very scarce. On the 30 minute, it looks like it's the It's peaking almost on the 1 hour. It looks like it's having a divergence, sorry. So we'll see if it continues to fall below it. Yeah, it looks like on the day there isn't much to look for so far. RSI is hot on all indicators except on the 1 minute. So let's see right here what happens. Let's also look at Tesla. Tesla is having a rebound. AMC still in the same area with GME as well. Number one son, what's up again, sir? Hopefully you're having a great time at work. If you are at work. Truckers don't have that. Plumbers, sales, etc., like entertainment industry. Yeah, indeed. Like a plumbers guild. What are you going to do, market? What are you going to do? Okay, let's see some things. Wow, why is V-Ray falling off the face of Earth? Oh, it's filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Very justified. What about PMN? Let's look it up here. PMN. All this happened this morning. This goes up from 3 to 8. Amazing play, right? Whoever got in. See, the thing is about this. Ooh, and the float is underneath 20 mil. It's at 7 mil. Another healthcare stock, which again, those you just catch by catching the news if you have. So what some people do, and you know, when I first got into day trading in the past, I used to have this like energy where I was just thirsty and hungry for, you know, making money. And actually it wasn't always about just the money. Of course, it was more about like a student who wants to get the star at their in class or in school, because it's more like, hey, I'm working hard. I would like to be like in the market. It's when you're getting paid or making money off of your trades, that's kind of like your you know, red carpet moment, or, you know, you're like, yes, it's actually, look, I'm getting recognition to yourself, not necessarily from the world, but mainly to yourself. To me, that's important, you know. But in those days, what I used to do is wake up before 4 in the morning for pre-market, and I used to have some news scanners. Some of them you have to pay some money for, of course, on a monthly base. And it will scan news, and you could basically go ahead and like, you know, label it and like have it filtered to what kind of news you want. There's some keywords that you can that you can put it on. Like there's lists one day I will show you guys here. I'll make a list and put up the list of like keywords that you would see in the news, from rare to like some good news, like how bullish is it or how terrible is it? Is it big time news or is it not? I will filter based on these words, and anything that comes in, it scans it, because at that moment, once that news hits, you literally have less than a minute, maybe 2 minutes if you are lucky, before it takes this action right here. You know, that's it right there. The only other way, this is the most convenient way of doing it. The other and only other way of doing it is by basically not knowing the future, just jumping in the water. So what happens is, looking at the chart, you will look and you will see where is it at, and like levels of supply and demand and all that kind of stuff. So looking at the 5-year chart here for this stock with this PMN, we see that every time it touched this zone right here, the $4 range, it bounced up, obviously, to the upside. Of course, it made its low, the 52-week low at $2.39. Now, of course, if you got in at 4, you know that this was around that supply and demand zone. You can go ahead and be like, you know what? Okay, I'll average down to $2. God knows how long it will take. And then eventually you do know at least that this stock, unless it goes through some chapter 11 situation like V-Ray we just looked at earlier, then you know that you're buying in a good price area. And eventually you're going to be rewarded. It's just about how long will it take. Those are the only 2 ways that you can technically go about catching these rippers that come out of nowhere, you know? That sounded like the that Jeepers Creepers movie, The Ripper. But yeah, so like those are the only 2 ways. One, you get into some news tracking device or streaming service, and like you get subscribed and you start changing kind of like your life around. Wake up early in the morning, and basically have it scan, and if it gives out a notification or an algorithm on something, that you filter out some words that go into it as well. And when it hears or sees one of these words, instantly you're, as a hawk, you're ready to go and like boom, 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 take a position, and then you're gonna be ready to take out your stop, your profit, stop profit, or like collect the profit, or obviously stop loss orders, all within the same minute or so you're going to be in. And that's how people catch these rip plays, because you're not just going to be sitting there constantly refreshing your top movers of the day. Like I know some of you are doing that out there. Skip complete refresh 52-week highest movers of the day. It won't do much. It won't do much. You're going to be late if that's the way you go about it. Let's see. It's going to meet this level again. Will it break under, or will it continue to break through it? On a positive note, belligerent ideas for the week, they have not found coke in the White House this week. So I'm bullish. You would think that stuff would like we would have a pretty active commander-in-chief. You know, you would think that stuff causes people to not stumble, but more like be very, very active and nowhere and all over the place, and almost just about break people's hands when they're shaking it. But we're getting the opposite effect here. Stumbling on steps and not knowing the directions. And again, I won't take any digs at anybody, because at the end of the day, even if I don't support that party, I will never make fun of any individual's age, because we are all on that same path. In fact, if we don't know if we will even make it to that age or all that. Not that I want to ever be like that man, But at the end of the day, from a human's perspective, I'll never ever want to make fun or joke at somebody's condition, because at the end of the day, you know, it could happen to you, and would you like it? So I'll keep the jokes off of the individual for that, but I'm just putting the highlight off the comment as that Coke should have different effects on individuals than the ones that we're seeing. Oh man. Military ideas, you're hilarious. Alice DWAC? No, as far as a tracker, you need a screener. Like DWAC is a news outlet, but no, you need more like and they're out there. I think you can go on Google and look at like stock trackers, news trackers, and these will be like things that are like, you know, they're constantly will be loading up articles that are coming out, like news that companies release. You just need to be the person who, when you filter, when you subscribe to any of these, if you subscribe to any of these platforms or any of these trackers or scanners, you would have to be on it right there. So when it gives out any notification on any, you know, filtered words that you put in, that like, hey, if anything like this or whatever stock news like this or anything that is announced like this, an acquisition, a this or that, I will make a list on one of these lives and I will show you what some of these words will be like that mean big time news. But yeah, you filter on those words, and then when it highlights one of them and says boom, you're instantly supposed to automatic. This is what we used to do, is we will go, like me and people who did stuff like this or who do stuff like this, we would go instantly into the stock market, boom, take a position. I don't even know, I just know, let's say if it said PME, whatever that thing said, within 10 seconds, I'm already PME loading up, taking a position, buying a market order. Doesn't matter what price. I don't know what the company's about. And once I'm in, it takes less than a minute before that run happens, depending on the news. So whatever filtration I put, it will tell me with the color code. I will program the filters on, for example, red color or green. Whatever it says, when it brightens up, or let's say the scanner catches something, within 30 seconds, I'm already taking a position based on that sentiment of that news. So if it says, you know, red or like terrible news, I'll have it filtered as bad news. Then I will go ahead and open up a short position without even thinking about where it's at, what the price is and all that. Now I hate shorts, so they're short positions because of the risk analysis. I'm a conservative investor, so therefore I will look and hope that that stock would have an options chain, and then I would easily be more comfortable with open put positions without thinking twice. Just buy it at that strike, in strike, put in the market buy order, not ask for the bid, but more of I'll give them the ask, because it's going to move instantly. Now, if it's in the options chain, then obviously you would be waiting for it to be in the market while the market is open, not when it's closed in the pre-market. So it all differentiates. If it's good news, jumping in, buying whatever price, ride it up, and then look at my levels of resistance. Most of the times when it's a ripper, you don't know where it's going to go, and timing the top, I think, just like timing the bottom on any stock, is always going to be a loser's game in my humble opinion. So set your stop losses or your take profit at certain levels. You can make it 3-to-1 ratio, for example, wherever your stop loss is, and that's very that's acceptable in that range. Or you could put it 2-to-1 to be conservative. Take your profits, be happy, look the other way, don't ever look back. Okay. MCK33N, how are you, my friend? Hey, AB, what is the forecast for AMC in your opinion? Shall I buy more AMC now, or do you think it will go lower? Well, MCK33N, I can't tell you what to buy or to sell or to hold or to do whatever. I can't even tell you what to do. But here's what I say. You have to follow through with what your plan is. For example, When for me, it was never about just constantly getting more AMC, like I'm just hungry, more AMC. Of course, the more the merrier. However, like leveraging your position is by, for me as a conservative trader, I don't have all my eggs all in one basket. Some people don't see eye to eye with that. Some people see like that. So that's the way I see it. While I might be content with what I have, and I add only when I make profits from the market, I add to my AMC and GameStop positions. And when I'm not trading, I'm okay with it. I also have other positions that I need to take care of. My crypto world, I have positions in Gala, of course, huge into the Bitcoin world. I've definitely forked all my Dogecoin. I don't know if I'll ever get back into that. XRP, I have a position. It's not the craziest, but I have a good position in XRP, and XLM as well. So I continuously have to add more into my other baskets to make sure that if I get screwed somewhere, I have a lot of other places to fall back on. I don't invest all in one thing so that if it goes bad, bellies up, I'm screwed all the way with no other alternatives. You see what I'm saying? That's the way I see it, though. You don't have to see it the same way. You have to see it, whatever the outcome. Sit down with yourself or your significant other and say, "Hey, are we content with our position? If this was to happen, if AMC was to rip, okay, are we content with the amount of position that we have? Okay, if it was not to rip, and the worst case scenario happens, and let's say shorts get their way, will we get screwed with the kind of exposure we have to this position?" Those are good questions to ask yourself and your loved ones, to make ultimately your plan. And whatever answer you get out of asking those questions, it's clear at that point, in my humble opinion, I think that, you can make the best educated guess at that point and decision. I do think now when you asked them the first question, what do you think is, like the outcome of AMC is tough. There's a bunch of theories. I once said this one thing to everybody and no one else is saying. I broke it down theoretically, and I think I make a very good point. It doesn't have to happen, but I make a very good point. I walked everybody through the past since 2021 when the button was taken off. The shorts knew that they had to get us out of AMC. And for 3 years now, it's been about getting us out of AMC. They threw bad articles about it. They threw at us everything, the kitchen sink, the negative articles, the bad board, the CEO that is, God knows what his intentions are, because I don't want to upset some of the worshippers. And that was not a subtle dig at anybody. This is just the way I see it. I think that there's a lot of people that are blindly just loving or worshiping Adam Aaron for, they never met the guy, so I don't know how you can fully trust a guy like this. Not that he was either any of the prophets of Jesus or anybody. Those people you have faith in because they're preaching for something different. This guy is not telling you, come like the prophets, come to heaven, come, and this is how you get to heaven. No, this guy is saying, I'm just a CEO, I'm doing my job. And that's his job, keeping the company. So how can you give somebody your undivided support without even questioning what their actions are? I don't know. That's beyond me. This is the capitalist world. This is the corruption money world. No one can be given a long leash. One thing we know, that whenever the leash becomes long, corruption grows, even to the cleanest and the best of people. Anywho, they couldn't get us out of our positions. Okay, so they came up throughout these 3 years with so many things, and they never got us out of our positions. Ultimately, they came up with the ape situation. They knew. I personally think that this is a theory of mine. Again, no one have ever said something like this, but I don't know why people wouldn't even look at it like this. It doesn't have to happen, but I think it's good. It's a good theory, because again, the people that we're battling, we're not battling them for something small. We're battling them for all and everything that they got. So I wouldn't put it past them to try anything, no matter how slimy it is. So they know that no matter what they threw at us, bringing the stock price down did not get us out of AMC. Throwing negative articles at us did not get us out of AMC. They brought Jim Cramer against us and Gasparino, and that did not get us. In fact, that motivated us more to get in more and stay in this stock. We didn't sell our shit. Eventually, they were like, okay, the only way we can get them out of their AMC possibly is by tricking them out of their AMC, thinking that they're going into AMC. What do I mean by that? Ape dividend gets announced. Surprisingly, if you remember, guys, this point right here in time, this is an important thing. You guys remember this point in time into AMC. No one shows this. No one sees this except you guys here. Remember, guys, when we together saw how we were going to change our trend from a bearish trend, from a sell trend, since literally here, since November of 2021, literally almost 2 years ago. Since 2 years ago, we've been officially, we dropped after the all-time high in June, but we've continued to consolidate above the 200-day moving average eventually until November of 2021. That's when that final nail in the coffin came in and we formed a death cross. You see it right here, clean as day and night. And it fully formed on January 6th of 2022, so a year and a half ago. Ever since then, we constantly stayed into a sell-off market. This is what the data shows you. And it's 100% correct, because if you go back and look at the numbers, it all adds up. Leading us all the way till August and / September of 2022. We were on the brink of crossing and forming a golden cross, which in any stock, that is equivalent to a change direction of the trend in that particular market on that stock. So changing that particular trend, and a golden cross means changing the trend from the downside, from the selling market to a buyer's market, to a bullish market. We were going to have that. Now, when you look back in August, and we uncovered this together here on the channel, and I'm showing you yet again, when you see what happened in August that prevented this blue line to cross that gold line, what happened? What made AMC go down? In other words, what made AMC go down in value? Common shares around August / September of 2022. A dividend. So put those two things together. Ape dividend happens exactly at a time where we were moving up to perhaps break and change the trend for the past 2.5 years of a selling's market to a buyer's market. Ape happens, we go down in value. Now, keep that thought with the other thought that I'm telling you, the theory that I'm telling you about, as far as with the shorts, doing whatever they can do to make sure nothing like this happens right here, where we get that divergence and go above and cross into the buyer's zone. Because once you cross, it's not just the line crossing by itself. This data is what moves institutes, traders all over the freaking world. Okay? What I'm talking about here is not some theories that ape bullshit, whatever. No, I'm telling you what algorithms and institutes operate off of. They see this cross and it holds above and forms that golden cross. You talking about people will be jumping in left and right because they know what the stock can do. Look at it. When it went up to here, they know that when this trend, right now, the reason why people saying, why is there not buying happening? Because every entity that is out there knows that this thing is still in a downtrend because it's underneath the 200-day moving average for the past 2 years. But when that becomes the opposite, every institution out there, every day trader out there, every retail trader out there who knows how to trade and know what they're talking about, specifically smart money, will be jumping into this play, putting in money because they don't want to miss out the action. Their technical will tell them that, oh, this is just switched from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Let's get our piece of the pie here. We don't want to miss out. And something happened again in August/September that prevented that, which was again the ape announcement and then the ape dividend. This is not me creating this stuff. You can see it here. This is stuff that you can see, you can look back and look at. Now, linking that thought with the shorts, how will that benefit them? Well, they're really hurting on AMC. They need people to sell AMC. What do we know people have been doing? No one in the past 3 years have sold a single share of AMC, as far as I know, and as far as what social media showed or shows, sold a single share of AMC. In fact, you'd be crazy if you came online or on Twitter or on YouTube or on Facebook, anywhere, and said, oh guys, I'm gonna sell AMC so I can buy at a lower price for no reason. That was before ape announcement. So nobody was ever, no matter what article they threw at us, no one was gonna sell. They knew that the only way to get us out, or at least some of the concentration in AMC, to get it to leak out a little bit, was through creating this thing, making people think that there's this ape will become AMC. So you're technically investing in ape. And again, this is not me saying that's definitely the case. This is just nothing but a theory. And it's not bad to think of all these outcomes. I see people who come up with the craziest of theories out there, and for some odd reason they're not weird or they're not wild or crazy, because they come up with these theories. But however, you make one theory that makes sense, even if it's not, if it comes to not to become into fruition, you're labeled as something, or you canceled, or you called a spot, just because it doesn't go against the narrative or with the narrative that they want, which is, oh, ape, and more ape, and all that stuff. So anywho, they create this ape crap. We know 100% that for 3 years, nobody ever thought or was powerful enough or courageous enough to come online and say on any social media platform, it's smart to dump your AMC, unless they were a chill, obviously. No trusted source. Now, those same trusted sources apparently started actually pushing people, advising people, why don't you diverse your portfolios, like some people we know did back in 2021. You need to diverse your portfolio. Sell some AMC and buy more ape, because eventually after the conversion, you will have more AMC. Well, guess what? What if all along this was all shorts trying to get people to get out of AMC to get into this, but they never closed the door? Let's say the judgment comes back as this not passing through this reverse split / conversion. Or what if they change the settlement to where the reverse split happens on ape, and technically it's only 2-to-1 or even none on AMC, on common shares? You will notice that the people who went ape heavy would take a big boner there. No offense. And who does that serve? Where are the shorts really out leveraged? Where are they stacked up against and being hurt? Where are they hurt? AMC. That's always been the play. I have some ape. The ape that was distributed to me. I didn't go and continue to buy more ape. Not that I'm better than anybody else, and not that I think that's the way. But that's just the way I did it. That's the way I see it. They're hurting here. I don't know how much they're hurting there, but they're hurting here. They've been hurting for years, for 3 years. That I'm going to keep hurting them there. That's the way I see it. Okay, but you're against this, you're against that, blah, 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 and all this stuff. You can label me as however way you want to label me as. I'm a person who will always constantly speak his freaking mind, and his intentions, I will tell you from now, are unfiltered and completely pure. I'm not trying to push no agenda at nobody or any of that stuff. You could take whatever I say as however way you want to take it, or you could go ahead and, not take it, and I still love you as a family. Hopefully you do the same as well. At the end of the day, what's the best case for me? If I was trying to just rile up around people's opinions and get the best engagement, I'll just say what people want me to say. I'll just say, people, reverse split / conversion. Let's go, Adam, Aaron. Let's go, AA. To the moon. Oh, you know what, guys? AMC is going to go to 100,000. Yeah. like I could say all that stuff that people want to hear, but I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I feel, how I see things, and if it means anything to you, so be it. If it doesn't, I hope that you can appreciate the honesty. That's the way I see it. And I broke down that theory to you because at the end of the day, I see that they would love for people to sell out of AMC to buy into ape. And I understand if you have over leveraged, I know, trust me, I know some individuals. I know you're there. I will never say your names. I'll never say who you are and whatnot. But I know people out there, 100%, that literally sold their entire AMC positions to put it all in ape, thinking that that's the way. And again, it could be the way. I'm not going to hold it against you. But I can't be labeled as the shill or as a FUD. After all, I'm supporting the one and only stock that matters most in this whole entire movement. So if somebody's thinking about saving by buying a cheaper stock like ape so that they can greedfully jump back into AMC, well, guess what? I am saying, fuck that ladder. I'd rather buy AMC more expensive to keep the stock there while you want to go ahead and be more greedy and make a few extra dollars because you're thinking about nickel and diming extra 20, 30, 40%. And I'm not going to hold it against you. You could do that, but don't come here and label me as FUD because I'm doing the one thing that matters the freaking most for this company. And back in 2021 and even 2022, any of these content creators that are now shitting on people who are saying buy AMC and why are we being so focused on ape and whatnot, all these were wolves hiding in sheep's clothing. None of them had the guts to come out and say don't buy AMC. Now they're all saying, oh, be more into ape. Keep AMC, but buy more into ape. They all were riling people. They tell people what they want to hear. And I'm not going to name any names. Guess what? Next week, the judge could come out and say, know this, know that, it's not fair, and all this stuff. And guess what? I guarantee you that at least 90% of those same people will come out and say, should have always just bought AMC and changed the freaking jump on that wagon again that goes with it. Because at the end of the day, they're not, your investment doesn't mean to them much. Their investment is in their portfolio, their own portfolio, and their own channels. And I'm not waging war at anybody here. I just get emotional for everybody else because I know, like everybody can feel when somebody's speaking straight out of their heart. You can feel it. It's not, any adult can feel it, no matter how high of an IQ or low of an IQ you have. It's a synthesized kind of thing. It's kind of like a feeling kind of thing. So you can feel when somebody's speaking straight out of the heart or when somebody's trying to gain your trust or speak whatever or push down, shove something down your throat or whatnot. All I want is for all the people to actually have the same essence that we had in this movement when it first started. We were the biggest threat. We still are the biggest threat. And unfortunately, now we're having people who are fighting amongst each other because they're worried about 2 extra shares, 5 extra shares, maybe perhaps this going here because it matters more to them, but they forgot about the most important thing, which is the play, which has always been about AMC. It's never about anything else. No ape, no cape, no shape, no none of that shit. It's always been about AMC. And here goes your Monday afternoon rant. Sorry, people. I just had to get that out of the way. And I hope that everybody understood what that theory was, is that I see it as the shorts are constantly plotting for us. They're trying to get us out of our positions. Their last thing and the last plot was probably through this ape thing, through the data that confirms for me. Again, there's so many things. I know people will bring other ideas talking about, hey, but we won't survive. We need the money. AMC needs the money, but then AMC does that, then it's going to screw a lot of people's investments. Ultimately, it's going to come down to this. AB is on the retail investor side. I can give, and I wholeheartedly will say this, I care more about our investment than overall the industry or whatever it is and all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, without us, there will be no AMC. Without now that after 3 years of actually giving AMC a hope, now it comes down back on us to sacrifice us to survive. It doesn't make sense. Everybody made money in 2021. Adam Aaron filled his pockets. His board filled his pockets. Most institutes filled their pockets. The corrupt short hedge funds shorted it illegally and reaped out profits synthetically. And the one and only group, which is us, that actually gave AMC life, are hurting and now are looking at basically hurting even more and sacrificing even more. I don't see that as fair. I'm not happy with that. However, I always, like I told you guys before, leverage my positions in everything so that I don't come out on a losing end. This thing goes through, I already have my plans. I already know how it's going to be happening, and I'm willing to live with the consequences of my decisions. You don't hear me sitting here saying people screwed me up or whatnot. No, in fact, I always preach the opposite. Make decisions, live with the consequences. That's what a grown adult is, and that's what a responsible grown adult is. And you keep doing that throughout your life, trust me, when it's all said and done, you'll notice that you were more on the upside than the downside. That's the way I see life. MCK33N, maybe that was too much of an answer. Thank you, Belligerent Ideas, for hitting and smashing the like button. Just make sure it stays operational so that other people can hit it afterwards. Okay, let's go back on the 1 minute to see what's up with AMC. It's still there. One final thing to look at for AMC, by the way, people, is this. Why do I constantly say this is it? Like whatever is happening here is it? Because look, August/September of last year, we almost changed the trend that we were in for the 3 years, 2 years to this point, actually, let's be exact. And the whole dividend happened. We know that story now. And obviously, since the price of APE was derived out of AMC, it brought the price valuation of AMC, which prevented it from crossing this 200-day moving average, keeping it in what? A bear trend. Did it stay in a bear trend? Let the stats talk for you. Don't let just AB talk. Ever since that APE situation happened, we stayed under our 200-day moving average. For anybody who knows trading, they know what I'm talking about right here. Being under your 200-day moving average means you are in a bear market on whatever stock it is. Any stock you open, if it's under its 200-day moving average on a longer period time frame, on a monthly, on a yearly, on a 5-year, on a max, whatever it is, then you know that that stock is in a bear trend. You will not go long on it until you see a conversion, basically the 50-day going above the 200-day moving average, and that's when you know that eventually, officially, the stock is changing its trend now. We were going to do that here, but since the price of APE was derived out of AMC, it naturally brought the price of AMC down. Did that happen or not? It did. That's facts, not opinions, facts. It brought the price of AMC down. AMC continued since then to be in a bear market as the 50-day moving average has constantly stayed under the 200-day moving average. I don't need anybody who just speaks emotionally to come out to tell me this, because what I'm speaking right here are facts, not opinions. Anybody else who wants to speak about other narratives and to try to put foggy and steamy and smokes in the background, you can keep these shenanigans and that circus away from here. You can set up somewhere else, not in this zone right here. This is factual zone. Now, if you look, our 50-day and our 200-day are literally like, if I zoom out, are making out with each other. With no, don't. Don't misunderstand me, people, when saying this. Look, the blue is 50 and the gold is 200. Look. Something will have to give. You can easily put other technicals like the Bollinger Bands, and you can see that AMC is literally like right here, which is on the lower end of his Bollinger Band. But again, we are literally not so far away from the 448 level that I always speak about, that I need to see us break, and then eventually confirm above the 550 to confirm that we stay above that 200 moving average day, to give us a confirmation that this stock is in a buyer's market now, no longer in a seller's market or in a bear market like it's been in for the better part of the past 2.5 years. And the game is on at that point. And I think that whatever decision is coming up, similar to here back in August, it's amazing how this stuff correlates. August, September of 2022. It's amazing how a decision happened that actually prevented AMC from crossing its 50 with the 200. And what was that decision? The creation of ape. So when you say, why are we still here? Why didn't we squeeze yet? Think about the decisions that the corporation have made, okay? That's a fact right there. I'm not giving you no opinion. This thing cross, every trader out there / institution would be running to jump into this as they see another stock that is moving. Now, even if they're jumping in as day traders and all that buying pressure will create what? Demand and supply and demand. And everybody will be jumping in with all the concentration that we're holding. What do you think is going to happen to shorts in that short interest? Perhaps any margin calls? Maybe, perhaps. Definitely not down here, but a corporate action happened right here that brought AMC down. So when we say, why are we still haven't squeezed? Please don't say, anybody that comes and tells you that we didn't squeeze because AMC is being manipulated and all that. Yeah, it's been manipulated, but it's important to see by who. Because this prevented us from having possibly our prominent moment back then. This is a fact, people. I'm not giving you bullshit right here. You want to see how that example plays out elsewhere? Look here. Let's take you back in time. Let's take you back in time. Look how our 50-day crossed the 200 right here back in 2021. Hold on, let me take out some of these other ones so you can see it even clearer. Right there. Look at this. Let me zoom in further so you can see it even clearer. This is in February of 2021. This thing crossed officially. You see how the blue was below, crossed above it. In the end of February of 2021, didn't take much long. You see, look at this. Ever since then, guess what? AMC's 50-day, which is the blue line right here, moving average, stayed above the 200, which is the golden color right here line. It stayed above it. And as long as it stayed above it, guess what? We saw our all-time freaking high in June. Excuse me. I'm getting emotionally riled up. And as you can see here, as long as that blue line, that 50-day moving average, you can have it at whatever color you want. I'm just having it here as blue. Stays above that gold, you see the prices above. Now, as soon as it crossed here in January of 2022 to the downside, I don't know what happened at that time frame. I don't know what corporate act happened. Maybe you guys can look back in time and maybe you could come up with something in December / January of 2022. But whatever happened here, it basically created a death cross. Now, what is a death cross? I'm boring you guys probably to death now, because now you understand that. I want you guys to really understand that method and see how it operates and how factual it is, not opinionated. So the 50-day moving average moves and breaks the 200-day moving average, which is the gold line, to the downside. Death cross initiates what? This happened again in January 1st, 6th of 2022, a year and a half ago. Since then, what did we see? Look at that. The blue line below the gold line. Has it ever went back above it? No. And since January of 2022, have we seen higher numbers? No, we've seen smaller rips. But guess what? They were all contained. Look how beautifully within the 200-day moving average. The closest we gotten to break that 200-day moving average as it was coming down and the 50-day was moving up was in August/September, and voila, we get a corporate action. Ape dividend is announced. The price of Ape is derived from every shareholder's price, like that, to add more salt to the injury. And then next thing you know, what does that do? Since it brings naturally the price of AMC down, guess what? The blue line stays under the gold line. Have we ever went above it? No. Since then, and now look where we are. It's tightening it up. Something has to give real soon. Hopefully that made sense to all of you people. If it didn't, I apologize for wasting your time. I noticed that a lot of people left. They don't like to hear this. I'm sorry, people, again. Let's look at the SPY. Oh, it dipped under and now it's above again. Interesting. Thank you, Alice. Much love. Thank you so much. Oh, nice. Gala is up 10%. I'm excited about that. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking at my Gala investment real quick. Let's see. Okay. SPY is still there. Tesla moving back up again. And Nothing much still with AMC and GameStop. This is definitely right here interesting. Last week I've notified all of you guys about BBIG because it's in an interesting position. BBIG so far have, with strength, broken out of that or forming that golden cross. I'm still personally watching out for that 240 range, and I need to see that being broken with confirmation somewhere around here. I need to see it around 280, 290. I want to be a little more conservative, maybe $3, and then let it come back down to touch that 220, touch that $2.40, and hopefully it doesn't break back down through it. I would want that to break back above. If it does that, instantly that's when AB knows that this thing is breaking out of that crazy cycle it's been in, and I'll definitely be taking a position into that. I don't care what anybody says or how they see anything happen. I mean, we broke out of this wedge right here to the upside. There's the moving averages confluence. I just want to see that resistance, that psychological level right there broken, retested again, and then bouncing off of it before I would 100% jump in like the water without even testing out the temperature. Apple still up. Nvidia still up on the day. Coinbase switched from red to green now. Looks like the market's a prop for today. All right. Let's see, belligerent ideas. AB, your thoughts on BRICS and effect globally and your reaction. Let's see, 1 second. And your reaction plans if overtake the petrodollar. Well, I don't see them overtaking the petrodollar very instantly or quickly. I think a lot of people have something, and not like you guys or you, like, and particularly like I see a lot of content creators who are, what's the best word to put here? Are I don't want to say ill-advised, or lack of knowledge gets them to react that, oh, this is screwing us and all this stuff. And yes, while slowly the petrodollar has been losing its grip on the world for many years. It's not just now or when the BRICS were fully first announced and all this stuff. I do like the idea of a two polarized globe where, like, hey, this side, they take care of their side, this side take care of their side. NATO and, the G6 and 7 can take care of their allies and themselves, and the BRICS could take care of themselves, and we all can live happily ever after. It's every country's right to say, hey, we don't want to be governed by you guys. We want Uncle Sam out of our backyard. I can't get mad at them for saying that or wanting that. But of course, I wouldn't want, one thing I know about history and the world is that when somebody gains some power or gains an inch of ground, they're always going to be more greedy for a foot of ground. So how do you draw the line and balance that? That's what we're going to see. Politics hopefully can work that out without everybody obliterating each other and going into a crazy World War III, which almost seems like it's an inevitable thing at this point. But that's mankind for you. That's man history. That's what we do. Wars, conflict, always throughout the history. And in between these wars, there's always some harmony times. And since we live as individuals such a short period amount of time in consideration or against the life of Mother Earth, then it is what it is. We have to make the best of our lifespan. Eventually, one thing people are not looking at is that we actually have so much oil reserves that we're not tapping into. And I know a lot of people are saying that's taken away from our infrastructure, from our jobs and everything and all this stuff. Yeah, I get it. But when the whole world is running out of, and this is the long game I'm speaking, is running out of their natural resources, we still have all of ours. We can get ours for much cheaper than having to dig our own land and our own soil and all that stuff right now, at least from Saudi and the other countries of Venezuela. That's why you see all the oil countries, except probably of Saudi, are having, they're not stable. There's probably some sort of, and this is where deep state jumps in. To whose best interest is that? Of course, it plays into our advantage for us because it's better for us. Destabilization there in Venezuela makes us get access to oil for so cheap because they need to get any dollar they could get their hands on at that point. Same thing with Iran. Same thing everywhere except of Saudi now, and they're going against the whole Uncle Sam, press and the way that we had them since the 60s and the 70s. So now something else has to give. But Saudi alone with its oil will not flip us upside down, if anybody's just wondering that. Because again, we have so much in natural resources. We have just about access to anything more than anybody else out there. Look at our Alaska oil reserves that are untouched. Is sickening. It's actually arguably said that it could be more than what Saudi has. Look what we have in Texas. And that's, yes, I always say this word. Some of you long-term family members in this channel heard me say this word before many times. It's called NIMBYism. And NIMBYism is when I want something, I need something, but I don't want to do it in my own backyard because it ruins my backyard. But I still need it, so I will convince my neighbor to do it in theirs. So what happens is the US is saying it's bad to fossil fuel and digging the oil and screwing up your soil and all that stuff, and it brings global warming. But in the same time, we need oil from you, Saudi. We need oil from you, Iran and Venezuela. So that's what NIMBYism is. It's not like Saudi's on a different planet. So if Saudi was to dig and continue digging, and it will continue digging, and same thing with Iraq and Kuwait and all these Gulf countries, they were to dig, yes, they're harming the overall climate and they're making global warming worse. So why is it bad if we don't do it? If we do it, but it's not bad that they do it. And Russia is going to continue doing the same thing with their gas and all that. But the long game here, I'm pretty sure that no one loves to kill themselves, right? Think about the people who are controlling our country, whoever they are. I'm not going to even debate with anybody on who they could be. We all have different views and who could it be? But think about them. Are they going to be like, have you ever met someone who has wealth and power and all that and willingly just squanders it? I haven't. So therefore, they have a plan for it. Now, my guess is looking at it from the long game. If we're not tapping into ours, everybody else is using theirs. Eventually, everything is gonna turn back to here. And if the world becomes so dissected and divided, as superpowers are claiming their own land or their own area and say, "Don't F with me, I won't F with you." If that's what it turns into, guess what? Who's gonna have the last smile? It's gonna be clearly us, because we will have the most resources at that point, because everybody has utilized all theirs. No one is tapping into ours. In fact, we will take advantage of the world, and it pains me to say it like this because I'm a human more before a citizen, of selling them what they absolutely need for more than it was ever priced for. What, a gallon of oil? What, it was 100? It was less. It's less than a Coke, gallon of Coke, for God's sake, which is a mockery. If we were producing it, trust me, that thing would be 3-4 times more. It's okay. I have my tinfoil hat on, always available, even in the shower. Propaganda everywhere. Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, that's the way I see it. Belligerent ideas. Um, that's my room to rant. I agree. All right, put it up. We'll go give it a listen, brother. Put it up. I'm pretty sure our family members would love to listen to it. Let me take the moving averages away from here. Look, we're retesting this level right here. Is the SPY gonna break, or is it gonna retest and rerun? What would you do for a candy bar? Everybody, yeah. Man, I miss the good old days, guys. I miss the early 2000s, the mid 90s, the late 80s. That's all I can, like, I know history. I know what it was like conceptually, in the past, like in the 60s, 70s, 40s, and whatever and so forth, and medieval times and all that stuff. But I don't know what it felt like because I didn't live in that. But I do know what the late 80s were like, what the early 90s to mid 90s for sure was like, late 90s, early 2000s. I miss those times. In a way, I feel like I belong to a different time of the past, not this time, for sure. I have an old soul. That's one thing I do know for a fact I do have. They're saying in the SPY, is it time to cool off, preparing for busy upcoming week with Mando trading? Yeah, perhaps. We will see. This is earnings season and volatility is nowhere to be found. Great. It's just great. Holy smokes. Someone just literally bought $1 million worth of premium on the SPY to go down to, the strike price was 446. But, with that much money, I doubt that they would be waiting that long or that far down. But who knows? The reason why, let's look at this, okay? I'm about to expose some trades for you guys, all right? Let's look at this on a 5-day chart. Why would somebody throw $600 or $700 or $1 million worth of their money at a trade that they see like this? So, for example, if we looking at the chart here, we're seeing that there's definitely the first area to look at is this, like the test level right here, which if this was to drop in between anywhere here and hold in between here, then it will look to test this level at 448.49. So this person has, I'm looking at it as this person has looked at that this way. That's how they're thinking right now. And then they're counting on this level to be retested as the last level of resistance right there. This is the last level of resistance. If we break through this zone down to the downside, this is the last hope for bulls. We break through that. That's when this person sees, you look at this. They bought the 446 strike price. Why? Because it happens to be on literally in the midst of that gap that has to be filled right here. And in fact, they're trying to play it safe because, again, they put up $1 million. And by the way, it all expires this week on the 21st. So somebody knows something now that we don't know yet. And that's why you see here, if they're playing that this gap will be filled, I guarantee you this is exactly what this person is thinking. Now, of course, the way that options work, that buying it here, if this thing was tomorrow or today was to go down to here, anywhere in the 449s, 448s, that person would already be in the profit, even though it didn't make it to 446 yet. But because of the Greeks and the option expires on a Friday, there's still time on that option. It gains value because of the probabilities that it will end up in the money. So therefore, that person could turn around and actually sell it anywhere around here. But if they hold it and it does go down to here, this person is going to turn that million into 2.5 million plus his million back. Yeah, I know, right? Belligerent Ideas AB, I heard a birdie that Tesla already agreed to put chargers in Wally World by 2025. Not a bird whisperer. Nabu. Hey, long term, I definitely see the value in Tesla. I see it growing. Again, Tesla is like Bitcoin in the EV market, okay? In the crypto world. The reason why Bitcoin is up, we spoke about it earlier. First crypto, it gets the bragging rights, it gets the most recognition, it has the lowest float, it's just the most traded crypto as well. So the supply and demand is constantly high, and that's why it's at the price evaluation that it's in. I see Tesla as the leader in that industry, in the electric world. So therefore, I don't see anybody else, like it's rightful for me to see that everybody can compete with Tesla, but they're not gonna overtake Tesla. So long term, I see Tesla being, the leader in that direction. Alice, this is what I need to learn. You are a wonderful teacher. I can listen to you all day. Thank you. Well, thank you, Alice. Yet again, you are humbling me dearly. Very, very putting me in a shy position. How about Walmart? Belligerent Ideas. In what sense, as far as the EV sector, like using Walmart is more like Amazon. But I don't know like what you're referring to as far as how about Walmart? As far as their stock or how they're moving? Or are you meaning like is it a long-term thing? Of course, as the biggest retailer, even though that for now, not too long ago, Belligerent Ideas, there was talks about how more than in the first half of this year, in 2023, more than $50 billion were outflowing from Walmart by the big whales. While the opposite was happening to GameStop, where people were loading into GameStop. So that is foretelling. That tells a lot. Okay, stock with influence with Tesla. Let's look at Walmart first of all. $154. It's definitely high, being at the 52-week high is 159, which was probably not too long ago they made. Let's look at this year real quick. Wow, look at that. Yeah, it didn't make that too long ago. That was in the beginning of this month, on 7th of July. Now look at this. It met the 52-week high, which happens to be, this is an interesting one. Good stock to bring up, Belligerent Ideas. If you look here, last year on April of 2022, we met this level. We're around this level, and it was hard resistance and brought us down. If you look here, This was a very strange one right here. This was on January 24th of 2023, the beginning of this year, where it had a moment where you see this, it was a candle, but then there was a split moment where a wick shot up to here, but obviously was brought down by sellers. This is clearly a manipulative either market maker or major institution move right there. However, we are, again, if we back out again, we look, see, we were around this level before. We came down. This is an important level. Will Walmart break it, or will it, as it meets this strong resistance right here, will it break it, or will it continuously come right back down? Now let's look at this 5-year chart just again to glance. Wow. So basically Walmart in the beginning of this month made their all-time high. That's so crazy, right? All-time freaking high. Wow. Wow. A lot to digest right there. This 145 zone right here, belligerent ideas, is an interesting area. Let me mark it why. This area right here is the last known supply and demand zone. So if it retests this 145, which I don't think it will not do, I do think it will do it at some point fairly soon, probably. This 145 area, roughly, zone. If it moves to the upside and it breaks back up, it will confirm to me right there and then that I could get in and I have more upside to look forward to, again, as a day trade, not as long holding. Because in these areas, in my opinion, I think that it's, again, I'm not giving advice here, but I think that it's too highly evaluated. Clearly, it's at its all-time high area. I need better, better price point than that. And you can see here, if it touches this, the last time it touched that zone, that's when it had a massive sellout before rebounding back again to 115, from 115 up to here, which again happened in June / it began and it really formed in August of 2022, which is broadly where the rest of the market, even the SPY, changed that direction to move to the upside. So I will definitely look at that 145.66 range, and if it falls below it, then I know at that point to look forward to a correction. But to where is, that's the interesting part, because the Walmart chart does not have too many gaps in it. In fact, it doesn't have any. It's all healthy action. Yeah, it's all healthy action, which means that's what you expect out of stock like Walmart. Stability. Drops that are not too crazy, rips that are not too wild as well. See, the gap here that was wild at that 145 level, it came down to 115, but this was again in the middle of 2022. It only lasted for about a month and a half, and then eventually it started rebounding back up again. Long term, I'll be looking around this area to, if I was a person who, again, if you're looking to maintain money, I look at stocks like this. If you're trying to maintain millions of dollars that you have or you possess, this is where you put your money. But obviously, I'll be looking at better entry points. I would not be putting it in value stocks or in stocks, meme stocks, or any of that. If you're trying to maintain the money, you're not looking for upside. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be steady, healthy growth. As you can see here, no sudden moves and all that, barely anything like this. But it didn't even last more than a month or two before it started rebounding, and it again, now it's at an all-time high. So it's that's the way I see Walmart now. It all comes down to what level of entry would I take. You know what I'm saying? So like I would look at it. It's at an all-time high. It doesn't make sense for me to come in here and buy. I can wait for it to retrace to a much more acceptable place so I can get the best bang for my buck instead of just forking it out for much less shares for more money, you know? So I would anticipate Walmart rebounding here and retesting this 145 level. From that point, I personally think that every time it touched this area, it retested 145. The last time it did that, it dumped even further. And I think that somewhere in this next month, or who knows when, I'm not going to put out any dates and all that, but throughout this year, the second part of this year, these next few months, we will see something like that happen where it will dwindle somewhere and it will rebound from somewhere else, either from the 115 level or who knows what level up here that will come down to. Good stock to bring up, Belligerent Ideas. So hopefully that gave you what you need. Now let's look at one more thing on Walmart before we leave it. Let's look at this. Yep, the options chain is extremely dry. There's only one on it that I see that is like, you know, around not that high of a premium, but circulating around that 155 strike price. So what do you know, it's whatever at that point, right? But good stock, good point out. All right, look at that. It's a great day trade, similar to SPY, but more stable. Just my tip to you, since we're all well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Belligerent Ideas. I appreciate the tip. It's right back against this level again. Will it strongly bounce before the close, or will it fall under? What do you think, Belligerent Ideas, since we're all alone, right? Wow. Dead volume on AMC. Dead. Like Left 4 Dead, the game. Okay. 1:30. It's lunchtime. All right, what are you having? Dumplings? I can dig that. I wonder what's been up with Mike owning the float. Mike, where you at? Alice, yes, she's here. We're good, belligerent ideas. Look, we're not all alone. It's like, I see 11 people in here. Does anybody have any questions in here? Come on, people. I know you want to ask something. Do I like ramen noodles? Yes, I do. Look, everybody's looking like, who asked that? No one did. I did. Look at that. See, now the buyer is here. The bulls, and this looks again like Friday all over again. Bulls has to re-establish here, this area right there, and it looks like, look at that, like that's powerful what they're doing right there on this action right there, just on this candle. You can even see it down here. But will it be enough to surpass this area so that they can have higher highs and eventually form higher lows? Because from here it looks like the trend from the rebound here, the reverse was ended right there at 450 and 74 cents, which means since then it made a low, a lower high, a lower low, and if this doesn't become a higher high, then eventually it's a lower low, lower high, and then eventually we'll probably make another lower low down here. So we need a different change of trend right here from this choppy action. Is that what I want? Certainly, I'm just breaking it down to everybody the way I see it. I'm listening in at work, Pabloco. Well, but I'm still here too. How's SoFi looking to you? Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Pabloco. Let's see. SoFi. I love SoFi. I love me some SoFi. Okay, it's moving crazy actually today. 975, 9% up, 7% up. Let's look. It's around, it's hovering around its 52-week high. That's one thing we see for sure. But of course, that's not where the story lies, right? We need to see everything we can see. Wow. So this is the beauty of this stock right here. We'll go ahead and do this. The $7 range. So see, from 7 to about from 826 to 787. That range, if this stock ever touches that range, this is where, as a day trader, I was day trading this stock, for example, I would be hawkishly looking at that range, and that tells me that this zone for the past year, the better part of the past year, every time it touched that part of this zone, 787, it actually bounced up. So if it ever hits 787 and I'm a day trader and I look at this stock, I know at that point that this is my loading position. I'm getting SoFi at a discount, even if it goes down to 689, whatever, 750. That at that range, it looks like a steal. As you can see here, this is why I said 772. This candle right here, 771 was the lowest, and every time else is 787. So if I got in here at 787 and it ended up going down to 771, tough luck, 16 cents less, and then it rebounds after and makes this action. Look, this happened on July 10th. Sorry, July 6th. Less than 2 weeks later, now I have this whole run. So every time it touches 787, that's when AB will look at this stock and be like, you know what? This is a discount for me. Now on the opposite end, every time it touches this area, 10, 9, any of these areas, see, and it's important to see exactly where the highs at and all this stuff. So since last year, when it touched this area right here, at 1023 in this range, every time it touched it, which is that one time, it reconsolidated back to 787. So right now, the million dollar question is, when it touches 10, of course, I'm not, at this point, I'm not buying long. If I am doing this is not, again, financial advice, family, but if I'm buying long, I will not be touching this at this point, because I would have loaded up at 787. Now, at this point, it looks like I need to see if it's going to have that rejection and meet it and come right back down, or, sorry, 1 second. If it's going to have the rejection and like when it meets it and come right back down, or will it break through? Because if it breaks through and then retests again, see, there's a lot of stuff that goes right into it. If it breaks through this at 1021, 1023, and then eventually roll higher, I won't still make a long position. I need to see it retest back again, 1023, and for sure need to see it bounce up again, not break through it down. At that point, as a conservative day trader, that gives me more indication that 1023 is no longer resistance. It had become the new support. And at that point, that's when I will be looking to go long. Yes, you probably would be like, but AB, 1023 is more than 972. Yes, but in the same time, 1023 and all the sequence that I've mentioned, breaking it, then retesting it again, then breaking back up against it, gives me a much more sure step that this thing is going to break out to the upside a lot more, and I can scalp at a much more profitable and much more convenient and assuring strategy, rather than getting up here in 972 and start saying, I hope it breaks 1021 or 1023, and I hope it continues that run. The word hope sounds emotional. You can't trade with emotions. And that's why my strategy is that way, and I look at it that way. That's why I rather give away that 50 cent or the extra 60 cent for the what if, for the, okay, I know this is happening here. This is assuring, I'm jumping in here. I'd rather have my stable position rather than jumping in hoping that it would do the opposite. So at here, this is what some other day traders would do. They'll be looking for this. If this is not met, then they will start short here because they know that eventually it's going to come back to perhaps retest 787 and see if it breaks through it and goes lower. If not, 787 is where they close their position somewhere here in the 8. So they open short in the 10, close in the 8. Breaks through this, then that's when they will look at opening long positions at that point into this play. And now let's look at our moving averages ultimately before we cap out of SoFi. Look at this crazy thing too. This was May of what? This was May of this year. Wow. So in May of this year, May 30th, this is when the moving average actually crossed, making a golden cross. Look at this, the blue crossed the gold. This is another example for all the AMC family to see what I was talking about also earlier. It made this cross. Guess what this meant? Golden cross means upside momentum, meaning the market is switching from seller's market to a buyer's market. And what do we see on here? Does that go along with what I just mentioned? Yes, it did, because it continued to run and it made a 52-week high. Now it retested again. It went back down, retested the 787 place area zone, which is it's operating as the supply and demand zone. And now it's gone back up to retest this level. Will it break through it? At that point, you guys heard what I just said a little bit ago as far as the sequence that I would like to see before I go long on SoFi. I was to go in it. If it doesn't and it falls below that resistance, then I would be looking at either opening a put position, obviously slash or short position there, and then exiting between this supply zone, because that's where my scalping will be. Hopefully that answers or that made any sense, Bob Loco. Let me take out this. Wow, all this happened in the SPY while we were talking about SoFi? Look at that. It's consolidating here, but it's definitely still making lower lows. So I hope they double bag the milk. Remember that when trading. Oh man. Let's see. Okay, family, it's almost soon gonna come up to my prayer time, and that's when I will cap it off so that I can go and pray. It's in exactly 3 minutes. So yes. Plus I gotta go do a few things. Look at that. A higher low and now a higher high. Looks like the SPY is gonna go ahead and try to move up and break that high of the day. Thank you, Belligerent Idea. Well, it's you guys that make this channel anything, no matter whatever it is. You guys are the ones that make it interesting and amazing. So I wholeheartedly thank all of you guys. Thank you. Alice, the pleasure is all mine. And you pray at 3 p.m. briefly. Well, that's great. It's always good to pray. Before I leave you guys, we'll probably witness a new high on the day for the SPY. As you see the trend reversal right here happening. Of course, that does not mean that forever and ever. That doesn't mean that. All right, guys, this is the lovely sound of me having the calling of me having to go and pray. So with that being said, family, it has been a very lovely, 10 to 2 is 5 hours? Do I have the right math? 4 hours. It was a lovely 4 hours with you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for obviously your continuous support and all you do for AB and for the channel here. This is your guys' zone at the end of the day. I hope I don't offend, or I didn't offend anybody, whether intentionally or unintentionally. I know intentionally I will never try to offend anybody. Unintentionally, I apologize for that. And with that being said, please have a great rest of your evening. Anything happens, we'll be reporting to you guys with a video. Besides all that, I will catch you guys tomorrow, around the same time this morning. And hopefully, I hope each single one of you guys have a great time from now until then. That being said, much love, AB Investments.